All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Another week in the world of gaming. Nothing's on fire today. We're just continuing the conversation for last week, so not too bad, all things considered. But I just want to thank everyone who is here nice and early, like Ryan Zeisler. Anyway, thanks for being here, bro. Synchro was here. Mithu was here. We appreciate you. Lucian LaChance, call me the GOAT. You sleep rather soundly for a murderer. Sick Carnage Requiem, great to see you here. As always, Anal Thunder, saying he's been a fan for a decade. Whoa, now. We need to change that username, bro. I can't be blurting that out. What if we, like, bump into each other at a con? I'm like, oh, Anal Thunder. And all the people nearby are like, yo, what's going on, bro? Francisco is always welcome aboard. Tyler Wood is here. He's got $7.36 riding on a match. Good luck, sir. Appreciate you being here. Splicer is here. Picto is here. Zerification is here. Nurse Mayo is in the building, as well as Billy Grant. What's going on, guys? Appreciate you all being here. Drake Rain, Smacker Stemple, Bad Dads is here. He decided on Final Fantasy VII Remake from his backlog while he waits on Halo Combat Evolved. Question for today's stream is, what's your go-to hot dog toppings? Everything. I'm like a messy hot dog guy, bro. Pause. JT Harden becoming a member. Shout out to you, dude. Welcome. Thank you for being here, man. For some reason, I updated the podcast names, our podcast names, because it says the podcast duo for the membership tier you subscribed for. I updated all this shit, but for some reason it's not updating on your guys' end. So it's like the podcast duo is still a thing, and it's like I did all that around like ham radio time. But man, oh man alive. I mean, I appreciate you guys joining in though. We have, so a lot of you usually check in on the juice. We have water, but my wife is fasting, and she has these electrolyte packets that you can throw into your drink. This is watermelon lime, and I wanted to try it out. It's pretty good so far, but it's 1,000 milligrams of sodium, so I was like, all right, this is a one and done. Because sometimes, you know, I like sipping on something a little sweet. So let me see what's going on here. And, whew, that's got some kick. Anyway, thanks, guys, for being here. Meatball in the building. I need Bethesda news in my veins. Yeah, we're all jumped up right now, dude. It's a I don't know what you say. It's a good time to be a Bethesda fan. It's a good time to be a Fallout fan. We got stuff to look forward to. Juice adjacent. Yeah, Plasma Snake put it perfectly. It's juice adjacent. And we're drinking it, yes, like A Bottle said, out of a glass like a gentleman. We've got some ice cubes in here. We've got the straw. This is fine dining. I hope it has some potassium for all that sodium. It does. And magnesium. It's not liquid IV. It's LMNT. I don't know what it stands for. But, yeah. I'm giving it a shot. YOLO. Why not? All right, we got a couple super chats here. What's up, Maddie? Chris the Killer, thanks for being here, bro. As always, we appreciate you, man. I am doing A-okay. It's a little muggy outside, but got a bit of a sweat on. I want to go back outside after this. So I only was out for like 30 minutes, but need to get the blood pumping. And then later tonight, I am kicking up my my Halo Campaign Evolved review. So look forward to that next week. Yeah, next week. You ever play GTA nowadays? The last update for online came out today. Yes, we're actually going to talk about GTA today. I have not played 5 in a long while. It's been since the PC release, but I have been playing this. I'm probably finishing this. I'm starting Halo tonight. Either tonight or tomorrow. It depends like how into the Halo I get, but I'm starting this, or I'm finishing this soon. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. I got so much. I went from like, I was going to originally, my plan for Retro Rebound was to merge the GTA 3 retrospective with Vice City because they're kind of connected, into like, oh, I've got too much to say about GTA 3. It's its whole on video. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of GTA lately. We're getting started on as many of the retrospectives as we can because these upcoming months, like August through October, life's going to go by like that for me. So I'm trying to get ahead of it and at least get some stuff played through, captured, so I can record my retrospectives whenever. But thanks for checking in on the GTA progress. Matt, keep up the great work of late. When are you going to play the peak that is Trails Beyond the Horizon? I need your reaction ASAP, man. Hunter, so on the note of me doing my backlog, I have a friend who's really into Trails, and he was about to buy the Black Ops ports, and I was like, how can I convince you? And he was like, stream your playthrough of Trails Beyond the Horizon to Discord. The problem is I'm in the middle of an Amori playthrough. I'm in the middle of GTA 3, and as I just mentioned earlier, I'm going to be starting my Halo review soon, so I got a lot of balls I'm juggling here, man. Pause. It's twice in the first 5 minutes. Holy shit. So yeah, I want to start it as soon as I can because I want it in at least consideration for my Game of the Year list. I've heard amazing things about it. I'm traveling for a couple of weeks in the end of August. It'll be a little stream pause for us, but I'm traveling during that stretch of time into the early part of September. So that might be a good time to fire it up on my Switch too. I have it installed there. So I'm thinking about it. I have to be really precise and strategic about what I'm playing to like maximize my playtime, bro. Just Dom Show in the building, bro. That's a name I haven't seen in a long time. Hope you're well, dude. Good to see you here. Anal Thunder's been your gamer tag on Steam for 15 years? I don't know, bro. I think I need an explanation on how we got here. You know? It's... that's a name you gotta fork out. You'll take over the stream those weeks? Thank you, Uncharted Wolf. I appreciate you. Oh, I almost missed this one. Missy became a member. Matty, I recently started playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I'm confused, but I'm having so much fun playing it. Yeah, it's... If you've never played a Larian game before, Baldur's Gate 3 is I mean, it's really overwhelming because it's them at their best in a lot of ways. But if you've played things like Divinity Original Sin, I think 1 is manageable. The most old feeling part of that game is trying to find your quest objectives and realizing there isn't really like a waypoint system. But Divinity Original Sin 2 really trained a lot of people for Baldur's Gate 3. But I'm glad you're having fun with it, dude. It's a special video game. I adore it so much. It's been going good, Dom. Thanks, man. I'm glad things are going good on your end too. For those who don't know, Just Dom Show, like a Bethesda OG. I remember him cranking out Bethesda videos in like the Fallout 4 days. Awesome times. I had to play Baldur's Gate 3 on easy because I'm awful at turn-based games. That's interesting. With all like I'm not even like calling you out on Uncharted Wolf, but that's interesting because like you have time to like think through your actions per turn. And I don't think like Baldur's Gate 3 is like, I guess Baldur's Gate 3 is built a little bit around foresight, like this will happen and therefore this will happen, especially because of like the dynamic elements on the map, like the way, you know, you can combine like water and lightning and shock a pool of water. It's a little chaotic for sure. Oh, we got a couple more super chats here. Let me catch up. Let's see here. I gotta maximize my screen to read this. MrMattyPlays. I just finished my first Persona playthrough, P5R. Fuck both Okumura and the counselor for wasting my 110-hour playthrough with no third. You didn't get the third semester? Ah, you missed out, bro. That's like the reason you play the game, I think. Ah, that sucks. Yeah. Okumura is like, I mean, it's so funny. You played the P5R version, but Okumura was worse. I hope you still found enjoyment, though. But Persona 5 is still a special game. But 5 Royal with the third semester is, like, still bee's knees. Yeah, Ruben, we are going to talk about Bethesda today. I wanted to just kind of sit down with the chat. And, I mean, we have 3 different slop topics that are non-Bethesda related. But I was trying to think about, like, what I wanted to centralize our just chatting section about. And I was like, I think we all want to talk about Bethesda. Like, I think that's just an ongoing conversation. And so I figured I'll just kind of tee us up there after I go through a couple of these super chats here, and we'll just see where things lead us here. Or the super chats might lead us there, because we actually got a couple of questions about that. I remember being 10 years old and Parker the Thug instead of Saboki. Good old Xbox gamer tags. Yeah, dude, my original Xbox gamer tag was like XX Fallen Lord XX, and my dad, who's like really religious, thought like I was, you know, being like a non-Christian by doing that. And I was just trying to think of something cool and edgy, and so that's what I was going with. So that was my old Xbox gamer tag. I've had the same gamer tag for a hot minute, though. I've had it since like middle school now, so I've got some attachment to it. Here, let's talk some Bethesda. Maddie, do you think Todd is upset with Asha? Also, when do you think a possible release date for the next Fallout game will be? I think it depends how much of this pivot of Josh Sawyer's project is. To answer that last question a little bit quicker, I think it really depends on what the pivot looks like and how far along what he had. Like, okay, think of it this way, right? He was, according to Chris Avallone, making Fallout. Then it turned into something Fallout adjacent, and then it went back to Fallout. So I'm wondering if, like, when you started as Fallout, I'm thinking of the factions that were present, and then if it's removed, then I think you have to get rid of those factions, and then can you add them back in? So is this going to be a new Fallout game in a new setting with new factions, but now what Josh Sawyer can do is, like, add in the Brotherhood of Steel as, like, kind of the way they did in New Vegas, where there's sort of, like, a smaller group over there. I think it depends on how much change is occurring with that existing project and how much they're inheriting all of that into this Fallout game. I will say, though, that if that is the case and they're inheriting it, the best thing about Obsidian getting a Fallout game is that they ship. Dude, they fucking... I get people are, like, not crazy about them, but they make video games and they make them often. To be fair, Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, I mean, kind of the worst is behind them in the terms of game development timeline. The good thing you heard about Avowed 2 is it was, like, really far along. So it seems like whatever issues they had with, like, game development timelines, they really figured out. So I could say by 2029, you know? I think if this project was already in development and they're just kind of rebranding it, you could maybe see it in 2 years. Like, I'm a little bullish on it in that timeline. But yeah, Iron Rook put it beautifully in chat. You'll get Obsidian Fallout before Elder Scrolls 6, I think, for sure. I almost think that's a guarantee. As for Todd being upset with Asha, yeah, I could imagine, like, you know, what he said to me in interviews and other people in interviews, like, that worked for Phil. Phil was like, okay, you're basically, I imagine the conversation was, oh, and you're doing Fallout remasters? All right, we're good. Like, yeah, you guys work on Elder Scrolls. Like, you've earned the right to, like, pick that and do that, and he respected that. And I think for Asha, she's like, cool, but we need something new. Fans want something new. Remasters can only do so much for an existing base. We're trying to capitalize on a growing base. Do I think he's upset? I think if he were truly upset, he would have left. You know, he's got more than enough money. I'm sure Todd's fucking loaded, dude. Like, I imagine he would have left if he was really upset. But as I've talked about a lot with Xbox, I think even for the people who work there, a lot of the consequences of these choices won't be felt for a while. And so maybe that's also what he's waiting on. But he's also a little married to Elder Scrolls 6, where I feel like he has to be there for that project. So do I think he's upset? I mean, I don't know him personally, so I'm only guessing. But sure, I imagine to some degree, because he believes in missing something. And you know, it's interesting with the answer he gave me that I talked about in yesterday's video. There was an admission of, like, yeah, we need to hustle. We need to, like, get things out more. But, you know, obviously 76, they were really counting on that being the golden goose for Fallout for a while. And I imagine the thing that woke them up is when season 2 of the Fallout TV show with the Walton Goggins tie-in didn't really give 76 the major jump that they saw with the first season. So they realized, like, oh, we need a new game. And I think that's really what led to it. And maybe Todd understood that, you know. I don't think Todd's this fucking evil villain. I think he has a philosophy, and that got carried away. That philosophy has worked many times, but now it's worked against him, and so here's the solution. So I'm sure there's a level of him being upset. Hi, Maddie. Hope you're well. Thank you, Mr. Jack, for your super chat here. Do you think people will be comparing Elder Scrolls 6 to modded Skyrim? And do you think it is fair to do so, / are there modders for gamer subset opinion to have weight? Yeah, I mean, sure, dude. I think this is going to be something that gets compared a lot. You know, there's obviously a ton of time that's been spent on these Skyrim mods, so I think within reason, but, like, at the same time, people are going to look at the gap between Skyrim and Elder Scrolls 6, and they're going to ask themselves, like, oh, you spent this much time. People are not going to count on 76 because they know most of Bethesda Game Studios was not working on that game. It was outsourced to Double 11, and there was a squad within BGS, particularly the Austin team, I believe it was, that worked on that game. And then you've got, obviously, Elder Scrolls 6 being a big focus otherwise. So when most of their squad is focused on that, I don't think people are going to really bring up Starfield too often, though I think that would be the most fair thing you could do, where even then it would be like, okay, so they like started showing pre-production things for Elder Scrolls on like an anniversary, I think in 2020 or 2021, something like that, where they showed like Shirley Curry being like scanned into the game. Like they showed there are like geometry and people being added to the game. I think, you know, there's going to be a ton of comparisons, not just for Bethesda's prior games, but I think there's going to be a ton of comparisons to their contemporaries, because by this point we'll have a Witcher 4. By this point we will have a new Fallout game from Obsidian probably. There's going to be a lot of comparables, and so the only good thing that we've heard from rumors that Bethesda might be ready for is that they've kind of tried to Unreal Engineify parts of Creation Engine, and by that I mean it seems like they're trying to level up their visuals. I think it would be a really bad look if Oblivion Remastered is the best looking Bethesda game, so I think that Elder Scrolls 6 has to look better than that. So I think they'll focus on a lot of that presentation. We'll see what Creation Engine 3 enables. It looks like Creation Engine 2 ended up being really Creation Engine 1.5. And I've heard from modders that modding, I mean, this is a public story, but I've heard now personal accounts, like modding on Creation Engine 2 has been a fucking train wreck. So they've got to figure out whatever the hell's going on with Creation Engine 2 and fix that for 3 if they want the modability. Otherwise, Elder Scrolls 6 will be stuck in a lot of ways Starfield is. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Let me get the super chats here that I have available to put on screen. I'll jump back to the ones I missed. Big hype for a new Fallout speculation era. Me too, dude. Like, that's the main thing is I've got a video we've been cooking for a little bit here, and we're going to kind of dive into, like, what Sawyer's been saying and what this can be and, like, genuine theories on it. And that's exciting, dude. It's like just old times, man. And it's cool to be, like, when I remember, like, when New Vegas came out, I was watching, like, rare weapon and armor guides on that game and, like, getting as many. I remember, like, finding a video about the Wild Wastelander perk that you needed for like the alien blaster. You know, that shit was awesome. So, but I was like much younger at the time, so to be there to like actually be talking about it with the community when this game comes out is dream come true. I can't wait. Do you think Oblivion Remaster will finally have its memory leak issue fixed when the Switch version comes out? I've been waiting. Also odd that they didn't try to get creations in it. Well, I think that's an engine issue because of it's a hybrid project between Unreal Engine and Creation. I imagine this is something they want to figure out, though, because I think they want to put mods into this game. I think they want to put mods into Fallout 3 Remastered. So I imagine this is something they're looking into because, again, they're going to have also the New Vegas Remastered. That's 3 games that they can monetize more. And I'm not advocating for monetization, but, like, I think they want these to be storefronts, you know? So as for them fixing the memory leak, it depends who's working on Fallout 3 Remaster. If it is Virtuos, the same team that did Oblivion Remaster, then I think it's cooked, dude. I think they got their money and they're running. So it's a shame, sick, but I'm sorry to say I don't have my hopes up big time. I will be checking out Oblivion Remaster on Switch, though, because the full game's on the cart. So we'll see how that goes. Everyone seems to think Obsidian is going to deliver another New Vegas. How many New Vegas devs work there still? Are we forgetting the mixed bag of their current games like Avowed and Outer Worlds 2? Well, I don't think Outer Worlds 2 was much of a mixed bag. I don't think everyone loved it, but, like, I think it was acceptable, and I thought it was pretty damn good in a lot of ways. Avowed, though, yeah, but, like, Avowed is also a cursed-ass project. Like, it started off as a multiplayer game, and I'm not even excusing it. I say this as someone who doesn't like Avowed. It's definitely something to be wary of. The writing, to me, was the worst part about it, but I don't think anyone's convinced that this is going to be like the most incredible Fallout game yet, but there's a lot more. Okay, look at Bethesda Game Studios and where they're at and who would be working on a Fallout game next. Like, I see people write about Emil, for example, and look who has the potential to be working on New Vegas 2, we'll call it, right now. You know, there's 5 OG Fallout heads in that building between Fergus, Josh, Tim Kaine, John Gonzalez, Leonard Boyarsky. That's huge, dude. That's just like, that's why people are just like, I'm willing to believe, you know, we'll see when the game comes out. But right now there's a reason to have faith. You know, how many New Vegas devs work there? I mean, there's 5 and they're all in senior positions. Beyond that, there are tons of people at Obsidian who have been there for 20 years. Like the people who directed Outer Worlds 2, you know, which was a gameplay director was Matthew Singh. Brendan Adler was the game director. They've both been there almost 20 years. Like there's tons of people who have worked at Obsidian a long while and have been there through those games. So I think a lot of people just aren't, frankly, researched up on Obsidian. There's a ton of people who have worked there for a while. Now, is the whole New Vegas staff there? No. That type of employee retention is like almost impossible, especially in today's games industry. But there's a lot of people who are in leadership positions that worked on New Vegas. And they're still at the team. So, and most importantly, the brains I care about. Like if Josh Sawyer wasn't directing this, I'd feel a lot different. So I think there's reason, again, not to say, oh, this is going to be God tier. It's not like they're in their CD Projekt Red bag where I'm like, Witcher 4 is going to be fucking amazing. But they are in a position where I'm like, hey, they've got the right pieces. They should be able to make something of this. The biggest missing element, of course, is what's his name? Avalon. You know, the writing aspect. I think the best thing Obsidian could do, and they'll never do it, but the best thing Obsidian could do is bring Avalon back. I think that would, like, I think people would say punch it. It's going to be incredible. I think with that would be the last. I think it'd be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And if I'm Obsidian, I bury the hatchet and try to get that done, frankly. I have no love or hate for Bethesda, but seeing them give Fallout back to the OG creators of Obsidian after suing them for it, it gives me a sick sense of joy. Yeah, it's yeah, a lot of people are really enjoying this this moment for Bethesda. I think the impatience has reached a peak. The game plan did not work out. And so this is where we're at. And I hope Bethesda's listening. I hope they're listening really close, dude, because this is a great time for developers to be listening and not reacting with emotions. And it's a really tough time to not do that because it's like emotions are high. There's a lot of people going through a lot of pain. But like, bro, it is they got to be listening closely. Like the years of 76 and Starfield is like generational mismanagement. When we knew that based off what Kirk Coleman said, that Elder Scrolls 6 was supposed to be up after Fallout 4. That just like stings for fans. They've lost, not fans in the literal sense, like there are plenty of people who said I'm not a fan of Bethesda anymore, but like I hate to get existential, but I think this is what art's about. Is like there are people who died, dude. Like there's people who wanted to play your next game and missed it because this is the route you chose to go, and this route did not benefit you or your fans in the slightest. So yeah, like I think people are enjoying this kind of approach to Bethesda now. We'll see if it turns out to be for the best for them. Although I don't remember them being sued. That might be a... I don't remember them suing Obsidian. Let me get some of the super chats that I missed here in a sec. Hang on, guys. More came in than I expected, so I apologize. I mean, thank you, but I also apologize. Let's see here. Carl Kratos said, "Why did Obsidian leave? Why did Avalon leave Obsidian? Can he return?" I was talking about that a little bit a second ago. There, can he return? Probably not. I mean, he leaks all Obsidian shit. I'm sure there's a lot of bad blood there. I don't know if even Avalon would want to go back. I've never really asked him about that when I've spoken to him. I try not to like poke around his personal business, but you know, I can't imagine he'd go back. But I don't know for sure. I think that would be great for the games. It would be a really great sign that like we're focusing on just making a great game and that we don't have to be best friends here. Dan from New York asks, "Is Obsidian doing Fallout spinoffs or 5, 6, 7, etc.?" That remains to be seen. We don't know if this is a mainline title or if this is a spin-off title. I imagine it might be mainline, or it might be called the mainline now, only because... Think of it this way. If you're saying, okay, Bethesda Game Studios, you still get Fallout 5, that's 2035. And so whatever new Fallout game releases during the period of this TV show alongside the remasters is like Fallout New Orleans or something like that. I don't know if that's really capitalizing on like what people really want, which is a new mainline entry, which would be fucking crazy. So it's not confirmed yet what it's going to be, Dan from New York, but I'm thinking it's surely got to be mainline. That would make the most sense to me. Chris the Killer says, "Why do you think my username is so middle school edgy? Never bothered to change it." Yeah, there you go. Especially because you got Chris Tech Killer instead of the Killer. That was a classic like Call of Duty days kind of thing. Instead of using Te. All right. I think did I catch up on everyone? I did not. Fuck. Hang on. Any chance Tim King could be working on the new Fallout? Ali, I think so. I think there's a chance. Yeah, I think that's the other thing we don't know yet is how this talent's converging. Like we heard that Bethesda was overseeing this project and that Obsidian had multiple projects in development, like Grounded. There was this new game that Tim Kaine said was not Fallout related. I can't imagine though, with the amount of like Fallout knowledge he's got, that he's not touching that. That's the thing, is this thing's like a gravitational pull. Like, there was a rumored Shadowrun project at Obsidian. That's what John Gonzalez was spearheading. Is he actually going to help write New Vegas instead? Is this Shadowrun project? We need more inside details. We need more. We need a lot more. So, yeah, it's tough to say, man. All right. Mike Anderson, Maddie, I live in Boston, so I started following you when you were leaking Fallout 4 rumors that was set here. Love your work, bro. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you, dude. At first, I thought the way I was reading is that you were following me in Boston. I'm like, I love Boston. You should have just said hello. Great people there. Spry Philly asked me if I've played Jade Cocoon 1 or 2. I have not. To be honest with you, I've not even heard of those games. I'm sorry to let you down there. But thank you for supporting. And then Yeezus says a reminder to play Morrowind. Indeed. Morrowind's a game I've actually never beat. Unfortunately. I played it a lot, but I just never beat it. I don't know if it's really a game you beat, though, at the end of the day. But yeah, it's like the one Bethesda game that filters me sometimes. I just the opening hours, the power curve, it's tough. But I think pre-Elder Scrolls 6, I'll get that done. I think that'd be fun for y'all to watch, and it's something I owe to myself, and just the amount of time I've spent covering Bethesda and Elder Scrolls, you'd think I'd finish that one, but certainly inviting in the casual comments on that. I hate that I can't turn off the HUD from the Oblivion remaster. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's a bad one, Dan. Yeah, good call out. Adams Latex says Obsidian, Fallout, or Elder Scrolls 6. Which release is first? It's gonna be Obsidian's Fallout for sure. Oh God, I'm trying to catch up with the super chats that I can put up on screen. This program is like both great and it sucks. All right, Iron Rook, the homie. I think it's safe to say Avowed's issues almost entirely related to the multiple changes in direction during development. Avowed's not a bad IP and deserved a sequel that's a single-player experience for the whole development. Now, you're speaking a little reasonably here, Iron Rook, and you're taking a little bit of Lord Cognito's side here, which I don't know if I like that much, because Cog's like, see, man, I like the new IP, and I'm like, but what if Pillars, I don't know, Pillars has never resonated with me that much, never attracted me in the door in the first place, but... yeah, Avowed's issues, no doubt, in fairness, were definitely directed to the changes in development, starting off as like a Destiny Skyrim thing, Josh Sawyer saying that's impossible, and then it becoming something else. It seems like the sequel might press on, though, Iron Rook. I mean, they're still working on it, so time will tell. Okay, finally caught up. Curious for your opinion, Obsidian games would have sold better if they were priced more appropriately. They made AA games, so they should be charging not AAA prices. $50 would have been the sweet spot. Agreed. 1,000%, bro. Price dictates so much of this industry. Of course it does. It's like you're paying for the fucking game. Like, it determines so much of the conversation. They tried to do 80 for Outer Worlds 2, and I think that's why so many people hate that game. Beyond, like, again, there are problems with the game, don't get me wrong, but, like, I think them getting, like, completely boned with an $80 price tag, I mean, that stink never got off of them. There were people I heard from Obsidian that defined that moment where they got that price tag as like a dark cloud around their company. They were just like, we felt like powerless, and it was a complete Xbox decision, man. So it was bullshit. They fucked them over completely. I think Obsidian games should be priced accordingly. Yeah. At least based on the perception of the player, which is what maybe doesn't match up. Like the perception of the player versus, like, you know, this is a California-based studio where people are working there full-time. It's probably not cheap to run your AA production with so many projects. So I think $50 would be the sweet spot. I think the industry has shown they want more $50 games. Would Xbox do that? I think, especially if Fallout, they're like, it's got the IP swagger. Like, let's give it $70. But good point here. I would agree with this, Chief Adam. I hope InXile gets a stab at the Fallout remakes if Clockwork underperforms. Game looks fun, but with the exclusivity, it seems the energy evaporated for it. Yeah, I think it's also... I feel so bad for that team, because I feel like the energy hasn't been high enough for just how fucking incredible I think that game looks and how much of an RPG it is. I think word of mouth will help it a lot. If it's available on... yeah, it's console exclusive. I was about to say if it's available on Steam, but... wait, hold on. Console exclusive. Hold on. I got to double check this one. There's been so much news for Xbox. Is Clockwork Revolution going to be on Steam? Yeah, okay. It's going to be out on Steam. I think word of mouth can help it. It can do some good Steam numbers. So there is that. But after this, I imagine they'll be doing something Fallout related, especially because they've been working on a first-person RPG as well. I think they'll be part of the Fallout shop, and they should be, dude. Like, I mean, people can say what they will about Obsidian, but the last game to come from In Exile was fucking god tier, and it was basically a Fallout game. If you haven't played Wasteland 3, pay attention, dude. That's all I'm saying. Fallout fans would love it. I think a lot of people missed that one. Not a lot of people played it, but I think more people need to talk about it. So I think they'll take that team and get right to work on some type of first-person Fallout game. Claw 117. Bethesda didn't sue Obsidian. They sued Interplay for the rights to Fallout. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I was going to say that. Something read wrong about that previous write-in. Obsidian was made by those who left Interplay and after Black Isle closed. Yeah, they went hard for that shit, bro. Very aggressive in getting that IP. Very aggressive. Thank you for this clarity here, Claw. We appreciate you. Why was Sawyer working on a Fallout game that Todd shut down? Well, I imagine the idea was like, this is what Sawyer wanted to work on. He said this gets me to a point that's been driving me fucking nuts. I see so many people on Twitter when the news broke that Obsidian's working on a Fallout game. They're like, oh, they're being forced to do this. Two things. One, I can find you right now at least 4 different accounts of times that Obsidian, both Fergus Urquhart, their CEO, and Josh Sawyer have said they either want to or are willing to work on Fallout. So their leaders are clearly cool with it. And I imagine that the staff, knowing that, oh, we're working on our probably biggest game in company history right now, when you really look at it, like, think about all the shit they've done, all the anticipation, everything that's led to this. I imagine they're probably excited too. I can't imagine a world where it's like, oh, this is what people want. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are passionate about Avowed too, but I can't, although I wouldn't be fucking surprised in this industry, the resent being that big that you can't recognize, like, what this moment means to the company and for your personal careers. So that doesn't really answer your question, but, like, it just reminds me of, like, people are like, why was he doing this? I'm like, I'm sure it helped secure their future. Like, I think Obsidian, people are like, man, they wiped out 25% of Obsidian staff. I'm like, do you realize if they didn't have a Fallout game in the tuck, how bad that would have been for them? They had 2 games flop last year. Whether your opinion on them agrees with the common consensus or not, doesn't matter. They had 2 flops last year, and they lost a quarter of their staff, which is a lot of people. It is, don't get me wrong. But do you realize how much more it would have been? So I think that might have been a little bit of it, is like the foresight of, like, we need something stable. I think it was maybe someone said in the chat, and I think it's described really well, like a Hail Mary pitch. Like, you know, this is also what fans want. And I think Sawyer got his dream game, if you will, with Pentiment. That didn't do well. He needed a success. So I think that's why. Why Bethesda shut it down? It's what I talked about in yesterday's video. I think a lot of it comes down to Bethesda knows if Obsidian makes a great Fallout game, what that does long term. It wrestles the IP from them, at least on a game side of things. Obsidian controls that deck of cards. Bethesda oversees, like, Halo Studios. Starfield doesn't have a future, so what do they become? Only Elder Scrolls, which is what they've been trying to avoid. Maddie, I'm sorry, I haven't played any Fallout games. That's okay. Mythu, try them out at some point. I think you'd really like them. Mr. Matty, salute with peace and love. Thank you, Machine XP. Appreciate you, dude. Happy to have you here. I really hope this isn't a remaster of New Vegas. Having the OG leadership is promising. The team under is where I have caution. I can imagine they pull from old design documents that they have from New Vegas. See, this is... I'm not calling you out, Neo, but this is why I know a lot of y'all haven't played Outer Worlds 2. I'm about to, like, install the game on stream. If it wouldn't fuck the stream quality, I would install the game right now and show you guys. Actually... Can I don't think I got it installed on my Xbox. I need to make room. Fuck. I was going to say, I could show you right now, but, like, all of New Vegas' systems have been studied and have been broken down. It's in the Outer Worlds too. They've got it all. They've got all of it. So, yeah, man, like, I think the study's been done. That's what Outer Worlds 2 completely was. It wasn't written as well. Don't get me wrong. The companions weren't as good, but, like, systems-wise, dude, like, the way everything works, the spider webbing, the reputation, the choice and consequence, the agency, like, all of that, that's all, like, the skill system, the way traits work, the way equipment works, the loot, Like, yeah, literally even the loot. Like New Vegas has some of the best loot in an RPG ever. It plays very uniquely, and like that's all in the Outer Worlds 2, man. I'm not saying y'all will love it as much as New Vegas 2. Don't get it twisted. I think the front half of Outer Worlds 2 though is fucking excellent, and I think the second half is pretty good. And so that's why it's a little bit of an imbalanced thing, and it's because the second half leads into a lot of companion stories. But like, if you're writing this, like I imagine you haven't tried out the Outer Worlds 2, look into it if you can. I mean, DLC is apparently coming in September, so that might be a good time to give it a look. But dude, this is, yeah, they've done the studying. They have the breakdown. Thoughts on Avalon with Republic Games? Hold on, was he I want to check something real quick. Upcoming unannounced dark fantasy RPG. Oh yeah, this is with Adam Williams. Yeah, I think this has a ton of potential on a writing side of things. This is the former lead writer of Detroit Become Human. So that's a pretty fucking nasty combination for storytelling. I can't wait, especially because knowing this is an RPG. And I'm happy for Chris. I'm glad he's got work. It's good. I'm praying for New Vegas too. I doubt they do it considering the events of the TV show, but I'd love for them to be able to ignore the show entirely. I don't think... My hot take is this. Because of the TV show existing, I don't know if I really want New Vegas 2. We're already getting that with the show. I also feel like it would be... Like, the Fallout universe has been so unexplored. When you think of how popular it is, we have seen the West Coast in multiple ways. The TV show 1 and 2. We've seen DC, the Commonwealth, a couple of spots thanks to 76, like Appalachia, the Boardwalk, those sorts of things. And that's really it. We need a new setting. Like, New Vegas I love, but if it's like New Orleans, Texas, Miami, like wherever it may be. Someone had a really great suggestion that's kind of on the border of like Canada and the United States. Like, yeah, dude, like I think New Vegas 2 is a great placeholder name right now, but I think we really should think of other locations. So yeah. Obsidian, I think, also needs this game. They need an absolute hit when it comes to games that I think Josh isn't going to fuck around at all. He is a GOAT. Yeah, great point. Yeah, I think they need a game like this. I think their small-term success has been good and manageable and sustainable, most importantly. That's how they've lasted this whole generation, but I think they need a breakout that's going to really change their fortunes. And I think this game can be it if they deliver. What is the game equivalent of the Luka trade? Oh my god, I don't know enough basketball to give you an answer on this, bro. Let's see here. Luka trade. Let's see. Luka for Anthony Davis? I don't know enough about basketball to try to answer this. I really don't. I just know Luka's really good. I don't know about Anthony Davis, though, and if that's, like, panned out or not. Someone else in the chat's going to have to help me out on that one. I'm sorry. I got to hang you out to dry there. Obsidian being forced and delighted to Fallout support is the most upside-down and confusing conversation I've seen online. Yeah, well, it's because the forced part is everyone's interpretation. All we have right now are headlines that suggest Obsidian would want to do this. At least their leadership teams. You know, as for the staff, they kind of just follow the vision. And have work. And meaningful work at that. So, Obsidian being forced, I don't buy into it yet. Until I see a report, I don't buy into it yet. I missed a couple of super chats. Let me get back to those. Let's see here. Rodolphin, thanks for becoming a member. I'm sorry I missed your subscription earlier. Where is it? I know I missed one in here. Oh, Iron Rook said, put Jade Cocoon on your Retro Rebound to-do list. Legendary PS1 twist on Monster Battlers that doesn't get nearly enough attention. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I didn't even know it was like an OG game. Cyndaquil, this is a really great question as well. Do you think Obsidian's Fallout game will be AA or AAA? I'm curious what chat thinks about that. That's a really good question. I imagine it'll follow their development style of like AA, sort of. That would be my read of it. I don't know if they scale up to AAA because what really hurt them with Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 is trying to be something they're not. And when they played to their strength of like... Also, the thing that Obsidian does... See, Obsidian's a very big team, but they do what a lot of the industry wants people to do, which is like smaller teams. So your like Outer Worlds 2 team was not gigantic, unsustainably big. Same with Avowed, honestly. Just Avowed did not pan out well because of a number of reasons, but you know, I think it could be AA. Yeah, Picto put it perfectly. AA, get it out as soon as you can. Depends on Microsoft whether it's AAA funding or not. It is an Unreal Engine project, so it could be more AAA if they want to bring in contract help, which Obsidian's done before. Like, oh my God, what's the team that co-develops? What team co-develops Grounded? Eidos Montreal. Yeah, so they're no stranger to that. I agree with Chad. AA, I think, would make the most sense. Asset flipping, reuse, that sort of stuff if they can. I agree with the sentiment, but how long did it take for New Vegas to dethrone 3 in popularity and reception? I remember people liking 3 better when New Vegas dropped. This is the part everyone forgets. And this is why I know this game's going to be a shit show at launch anyway, because there's never been... I've never lived through a Fallout game that people have seen when it releases and gone like, oh, yeah, man. Best one yet. It's just never gone down that way. You know, Fallout 4 was ass until suddenly it wasn't. Just like, it took like 8 years for that to kind of like register for people. New Vegas, absolutely, this is the tail of the tape right here. Josh Sawyer talked about it himself. We actually have a video on Matty Slop about it that, like, you know, Obsidian, like, got destroyed because of this game in a lot of ways online. So, yeah, I think it'll take a while for this game to make its impression. Especially because there's a lot of people after Avowed who are, I think, trying to hate this game already. And showing how little they know about Obsidian as a company and the people who work there. How sad are you about the flex strike stick delay? Right, good to see you, bro. My Spawncast brethren. Man, it's really just taking me out. I don't know how I'm gonna recover. Fuck physical games, bro. What about my physical accessories? I can't believe we got an update on that shit before the fucking physical game situation. Ugh. Do you think of Obsidian's new Fallout game, do you think if I could fucking read, if Obsidian Fallout game is not open world and doesn't follow some DNA of Bethesda, will it sell well? So let's see here. You're maybe thinking like, let's think Outer Worlds. We're thinking like planets. They're kind of open hubs, maybe. I'm like the worst person to ask this because I don't place a lot of value in these games being strictly open world. And I think the fan base is hungry enough where it doesn't have to be open world. Would it be open world? Oh, put it this way. If it isn't open world, I think the brand is strong enough, and if it looks good enough, it'll sell. So, from my point of view, I think it'd be fine. But it does bring about the question of, like, these assumptions we're making. Because it's like an Unreal Engine 5 game. And we're seeing, like, how much Epic needs to support Witcher 4 to make that work. And Obsidian's not going to get that exact level of support, at least not yet. So I imagine this is more like a Avowed situation. Avowed was the first area in Avowed, a lot of the areas in Avowed were cracked wide open. I think massive hub styles are pretty great. A lot of you prefer it to be open world, though. Sucks if it'd be like Outer Worlds. Okay. It seems like a lot of people don't want hubs. I love hubs, man. Like, I think they're really great, but I totally get where chat's coming from. Definitely food for thought. This is a really great question, Red Bandit. I'm imagining AA scale, though. It can't be AA. I mean, I guess it could be AA budget open world, but I don't know if you get some, like, type of banger with that. I'm fine with large open hubs. I definitely prefer an open world. Yeah, a lot of you want open world. Okay. The people have spoken. This is definitely good food for thought when I talk about it in my videos. I would have thought it would have been fine either way. Hubs are for losers. Come on, Napalm. Open worlds, no hubs. Okay. Okay, people want open world. What about a Fallout set in the Midwest, part of Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, or Northern Kentucky? Yeah, I mean, you're talking to the right guy. Like, I think just, like, the fact that there aren't, like, Fallout comics and Fallout books exploring these things is fucking crazy to me. All of this could be answered by this point in time, but it's not. So for me, like, yeah, dude, I'd love to see some of this. Like, Midwest Fallout would be just as cool as, like, you know, East Coast Fallout, as cool as West Coast Fallout. Like, Pacific Northwest Fallout. There's just so much potential. It's ridiculous that we don't have some of these locations explored in any way. So that means there might be potential Fallout 76 revisions once the new Obsidian Fallout game drops. Well, it depends what you mean by revisionism. I missed that word. I just read revisions. There already has been. I've been one of the people who's been like, look, it's fine. You can check it out. Like, it's definitely not awful. But I think some people go a little gung-ho with their takes on it. They're like, it's always been great. Are we ready to admit it? And I'm like, no one's fucking ready to admit it. No one thinks this game is that great, dude. Like, I shouldn't say that. People do think it's that great, but like when people like boldly state it on social media or in videos, I'm like, no one's ready to agree, dude. It's such a barrier to enjoyment in so many ways. They've done a good job responding to feedback, but the reality is, like, they can't put up the quality content in a live format. Play Burning Springs and tell me that shit's worth the wait. You know? So I don't think 76 revision. If 76 became like an offline mode where you could just explore the map, it was like a single player thing, I'm sure there'd be a level of like, I would even enjoy like kicking it open every now and again, like as the weird Fallout game. But otherwise though, I don't know. I think it'll always be remembered as like a big blunder by Bethesda that they managed to recover from. And to their credit, they hung with. Should I get Oblivion Remaster on PC? It's probably the best place to play it, man. But it just like, it chugged like shit for me. Like, I didn't get as many hours into it as I wanted to. But, you know, it just really kind of, the crashing kind of took me out of it. Like, we talked about memory leaks earlier. But that would probably be the best place to get it at this point in time. But I'd wait at least until the Switch 2 launch to see if there's any updates that come with that. Do you think the drop-off in story writing is dramatic without Chris Avellone? For me, it is dramatic. Yeah, sure, dude. I mean, when you look at their last chunk of games, like, you know, I've raved about Obsidian games for different reasons. I will say this. I did enjoy The Outer Worlds 1 from a writing angle, but also, like, in general, way more than other people. I thought that game was awesome, you know? I have more critiques of Outer Worlds 2's writing than I do 1's. Outer Worlds 1 had characters like Vicar, Max, and Parvati that I really loved, that I really cared about. And characters like Ellie really came online with the Outer Worlds 2 Murder on Eridanos DLC. So a lot of the people, though, who spearheaded those things, like Megan Starks, Carrie Patel, like they were a big part of the Nurse Mayo becoming a member. Shout out to Nurse Mayo. What was I saying? Those people who directed those DLC and helped get the Outer Worlds 1 to a complete state, I think, and really round out the package, they've left. So that is a significant loss. Megan Starks, I think, was a big loss because Murder on Eridanos is like arguably better in the base game of Outer Worlds. It's so good. So Avellone was a big part of the success. I think, yeah, it is a dramatic drop-off, but it's also the people who were kind of there as like narrative designers and directors who are no longer at Obsidian. And if that same writing team from Avowed is working on Fallout, that's where I will get my back up and be like, what the fuck happened? So yeah, it's definitely a debatable topic. I enjoyed Outer Worlds 1 more than most, but that is now like an outlier at this point. Outer Worlds 2 has some well-written moments, a lot of them, in fact. It's definitely a laugh-out-loud game at times. But particularly for Outer Worlds 2, the only standout, like, I can think of a chunk of the game where I was like, oh, they're cooking here, was the Auntie's Choice faction quest line. That was awesome. Otherwise, though, it's not like New Vegas where I can, you know, pick all these different DLC and like, you know, Veronica and how that plays into Dead Money. And, like, you know, like, I can extrapolate upon that. And, you know, I think of, like, just the main storyline and the branching choices there. It's not, like, that level of greatness, for sure. I like Fallout 4, but Bethesda Game Studios' last 3 games were mid. Why expect Fallout 5 won't just be Fallout 4.5? Bethesda Game Studios thinks they're Rockstar or CD Projekt Red with the wait. Yes. This is a great mini video essay that Drawn Out did. That was his first video. An excellent video at that. And it's exactly a true point that Bethesda thinks the time they take leads to a Rockstar level thing. And maybe it does monetarily. They sell a lot of their games, despite what people say online. But it's definitely, I think times are catching up with them a bit. So, yeah, why expect Fallout 5? Yeah, it wouldn't feel like Fallout 5, I'm sure, but it depends what the jump of creation engine looks like. And I will say the one thing I'm giving Bethesda Game Studios benefit of doubt on is that Elder Scrolls 6 is a return to what we know them for, strength to strength. And I don't know if that'll mean it's going to be an incredible game, but at least I know it's not going to be like fucking Starfield where it's this disjointed shit. And if it's more classic on foot Bethesda, I think that's already a great start for TES 6. And we'll see what that can build into. I don't know, man. Mafia is one of my favorite franchises, but after Mafia 3, I've been afraid of open worlds being made. If they're not going to do well, just make it linear. This applies to all games. Yeah, the structure of Mafia 3 is a great story with a terrible structure, right? Like the breaking up of the open world map and completing side content, which is actually mainline content. It's a tough play. I happen to love Mafia 3 story, but, you know, again, to each their own. I agree, because it sounds like you're talking based on, like, our hub conversation from earlier, and I agree that, like, you know, Mafia 3 is a good touchstone for, like, well, be careful what you wish for in an open world, and should Obsidian really be making open world stuff? What I meant by Bethesda's DNA, I was thinking about seeing something in a distance and going there and finding a whole new story. That's what makes Exploring the Wasteland special. Very true, right? You can see, I want to know if you've played Outer Worlds 2 as well, because you can do that in Outer Worlds 2. But it feels better in an open world space, because it's just like on the horizon again and on the horizon again and on the horizon again. So, yeah, dude, this is definitely a point that doesn't really get across with like hub-based locations. You know, they're just very confined. They're compact, and that makes them dense to explore. Things like KOTOR really thrive off of this, but I can understand why open world would be the preference here. Certainly, I mean, it is the case for me, but I don't know if I'm fully expecting that. I'm gonna try to get your name right here. Mikami? You let me know, dude. Do you think there's any chance that Elder Scrolls gets a similar treatment? I wouldn't mind a different studio led with a different spinoff. Yeah, dude, this is a fucking great point that we don't talk nearly enough about. I think less likely, because with Fallout, it's been passed around a lot. With Elder Scrolls, I think what's happening is Bethesda, you are the Elder Scrolls studio. Obsidian, you are the Fallout team. Bethesda, you're basically like Halo Studios. You'll oversee these other productions, like what's going on in the TV show, what's going on in 76, what's going on in these remasters. You're working on all these Fallout things at once. And then I think with Elder Scrolls, it's like, that's yours. Like, no one... I would take another Elder Scrolls game before TES 6, but I don't think that... I don't think that anything other than remasters would satisfy. Like, would people be happy with, like, a... I would be excited if they went, like, Elder Scrolls, The Dark Brotherhood, and it's, like, an arcane-based, immersive sim style assassin game set in the Elder Scrolls universe. But that felt, like, due 5 to 8 years ago now. At this point, it's like the wait's been so long. And Elder Scrolls 6 should be a platform. That's why it was listed alongside, like, Minecraft and whatnot by Xbox, because I think they want to, like, do the creations and make tons of money off of that. So I don't think they want anything to take from it. So I feel like Elder Scrolls might stand on its own. That's my prediction right now. Though I would not hate more Elder Scrolls style games, because Elder Scrolls could do like RTS. I'm thinking of like the Total War games and doing something in Elder Scrolls. I mentioned the Arcane game. I think that would be really cool. That would probably give that studio a brighter future right now. And then what was the other thing I was thinking of? I guess like a Baldur's Gate style Elder Scrolls game. See, the interesting thing about Fallout is there's so many different like strips of Fallout. Like you have the isometric style that could evolve into a Baldur's Gate 3 thing, but Elder Scrolls has always been kind of like first-person exploration, so I think you can only pass it around so much, but definitely think we'll get more remasters. Spin-offs, though, is tough to imagine. But then again, you could consider, like, they did Blades and shit. They did Castles. Daedric horror game, that's a fucking cool suggestion. That would be awesome. A Bottle says, thoughts on Fallout Montana. Glacier National Park serves as a refuge from the nukes. Strong nomadic and Native American themes of winter mechanics. That'd be really cool. It kind of reminds me in some ways of what we're headed into with Season 3. But it also reminds me a little bit of Fallout 2. Kind of opening up with the kind of Native American, the tribal theme of it all. Which I really loved in Fallout 2. So I like this suggestion, dude. This is a cool one. See, everyone who's from I don't know if you're from Montana, A Bottle, but like anyone who's from a certain part of the world that's the beauty of Fallout. You can justify why a Fallout game should exist in any state. Because there's always something. It's a good idea. I like it. Sawyer said that Creation Engine is easy to use / learn. Makes me wonder if they'll use Creation Engine instead of UE, depending on how far along the game that he was working on is. Yeah, he did say that. Whoa, Jesus Christ. I almost broke my fucking chair, my fat ass. Do you see that shit? Whoa. Okay, let me try that again. I want to sit crisscross applesauce. Whew, that was scary. Anyway. This applied probably back then. I don't know if it applies nowadays. It seems like there's a hesitation about proprietary tech in Xbox, given what happened with Halo. At the same time, there's a desire to embrace it because they need to maximize profit margins. So it could be, I mean, Creation Engine being the only Fallout engine, I think would make sense from Bethesda's point of view, but that means that whatever Sawyer started on, how do you bring that all over, or do you just start over? If they start over, man, it's so cooked. That's just not getting done quickly. Obsidian's built their entire pipeline around Unreal Engine, and now they're going to suddenly have like a team that learns about Creation Engine. Like, this doesn't build into Obsidian stack at all, so I think it'll stay Unreal. The thing that they really just have to figure out is how do you get modding capability into, if at all, or creations into an Unreal Engine game, you know? But if this applies nowadays, I don't know how recent the comment is. I remember Sawyer talking about this, about it being easier to use and learn, but I think it was in, again, reference to like New Vegas, which was a, you know, different story back then. So good point here, but I still think it'll be Unreal Engine. Where should I start with Fallout, Matty? Mythu? I think you should start where I started. Start with Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is a really special video game. And then just go down that track. Go Fallout 3, New Vegas, Fallout 4. And if you really are loving it, then, dude, go for Fallout 1 and 2. You know? Like, that's how I did it. I went Fallout... I did Fallout 3, New Vegas, then I did 1, 2, and then I did 4. Because I was waiting for 4, and so I played the older Fallout video games. But I would say start with 3. That's my take. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, go to Obsidian first. And, like, I do think New Vegas is the better game at this point. But I just think Fallout 3 offers a lot of, like, these touchstones that make you fall in love with Fallout. And then New Vegas is all of that, but better written. Also, New Vegas, I appreciated more over the years because I love classic Fallout. So there's that, too. But I would say 3 is a really great starting place. Give that a shot. And then from there, if you want more Fallout that's not Fallout, go to Wasteland. In Exile, who had a lot of original Fallout heads, made Wasteland 2 and Wasteland 3, and those are both amazing games. And look, chat's supporting this. Definitely start with 3. So have fun, Mythu. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Ranger, let's see what we got here. In my opinion, Obsidian's Fallout has to be a big AAA game or else it'll be nothing but met with disappointment. It'll be compared to New Vegas and other contemporary games released at that time. I think it'll always be compared to New Vegas no matter what they do, and maybe that's a reason to swing harder and go for AAA. Certainly that's a compelling point, right? Is like, that is a shadow that's kind of hanging over them that they have to somehow at least try to surpass if they can. So this is I like this one. Yeah, you guys are convincing me. AAA open world. I think that really might be the play. I know it seems like, oh, this is what it obviously should be, but I'm trying to think more of what games Obsidian has made, which are realistic for their timetable. Like, was Josh Sawyer working already on a AAA open world game, or is that what this is going to turn into? So we'll see. I think a lot of people will take whatever they're given, though. I wonder if they break up Bethesda into smaller teams, i.e. they have a Fallout team, Elder Scrolls team, Starfield team, and they run content on 4 or so year cycles. Well, here's the really depressing part. This is basically what Bethesda Game Studios was doing. They had a Fallout team. It was just 76. They have an Elder Scrolls team. Most of the team was working on ES6. They had a Starfield squad. That's how we got Terran Armada. So that's what they were doing. That's why, you know, you were Bethesda Game Studios back in, like, the Fallout 4 days. They used to be dead quiet. They've really scaled up. They get a lot out now. Just no one cares about it because it's not the shit you want. So that's the funny part is Bethesda was broken up like this. Maybe not to the way Obsidian was. Obsidian's still a smaller team overall. Bethesda Game Studios is just, like, I think, far too big. I wonder if we get Fallout 1 and 2 console versions now. Oh, dude, I hope. God, I hope. I really fucking hope so. God, that'd be so nice. I would love for more people to play these games, dude. They're excellent. Them with, like, I think Beamdog doing a little collection of these would be cool, or, like, adding some quality of life updates, or doing a Baldur's Gate style remake for Fallout 1 and 2. all of these would be fucking incredible options. I think a lot of the hard or the newer Fallout fans would not like Fallout 1 being on a timer. I'm sure that'd be an accessibility setting, which would strip all narrative tension, but I digress. 1 and 2 console versions are very needed. And this is something I wonder if Asha would be like, I don't care, Todd. Like Todd said to me in my interview, he was like, I prefer that you get to play these games on their original hardware. He's since budged on that. We've seen with like Oblivion Remaster, like he's willing to re-release his old games because I think it's just smart business. So maybe Fallout 1 and 2 will receive that treatment now. But I would love to see these games get re-released. Hey, Maddie, big fan. Well, thank you, Alex. Would love to see Xbox bring back the veteran BGS dev. Coleman, Shen, Smith, Hines. Coleman lead the story. Bring back the passion and development. But I know it's very unlikely. Yeah, you also got to think of the personal element, dude. I think like this is a totally great point. And I think in a perfect, not even a perfect world, that's kind of sounding like I'm talking down to you. I mean, like, these are people with feelings. Like, Coleman felt, based off his interviews, that Todd kind of fucked him over. Will Shen left, I think, because of, like, how things went with, like, too much management layers. Nesmith, kind of same deal. And Hines left because Bethesda was changing forever. So unless there's an idea of, like, this core group right here coming back to Bethesda Game Studios, because it would be the Bethesda Game Studios that they knew and love, I don't think they come back. I think they love the IP, but I think they know their time is done. And they're on to other things. So yeah, I would love to see them go and get that talent back. It certainly seems like Xbox understood that on an Xbox point of view, like talking with Seamus Blackley, talking with Larry Erb, like talking with Shuei Yoshida, talking with Sean Layden. Like, seems like they understand that, but for Bethesda Game Studios in particular, I'd be interested to see how they approach things. Also, these people have gone on to do their own things. Like, Nate Perkypile was a huge force at Bethesda Game Studios. He's doing his own games now. No one wants to be in the AAA meat grinder anymore. So a lot of these companies, or these people working at these companies, want out of that. They don't want to re-enter that environment. Have you talked about Istvan Pelly being laid off? Wait, what? He got laid off? Holy shit. What? What? Oh, no, never mind. Hang on. We're good. We're good. Apparently this is false. Juicehead said he was directly told Eastbound was not laid off. Okay, we're safe. That would have been a crazy one. That's like one of the main guys. That would have been a crazy one. I don't think Eastbound's one of the problems there. I could be wrong. I'm one of the few that like Starfield 1,200 plus hours. Holy shit! Take lessons from Baldur's Gate 3 on storylines and minigames from Crimson Desert and Hogwarts Legacy. Respect. I respect this. I don't think Starfield is as fucking terrible as people say. I just think it's a good game. You know, it's a fine game. Just Bethesda Game Studios is capable of way more. Maybe not nowadays, but like, they've delivered to me my favorite games of all time. Starfield was not that. Let me catch up on some of this. I know I've missed a few here. Sorry, guys. I really appreciate the support, though. This is awesome. Let's see here. Who did I miss? I missed USGC James. I wonder if they... Oh, wait. Nope. I fucking read yours. Holy crap. Say no to the Tech Pros. That's who it was. I wonder if we get... Nope. I fucking read that one, too. What the fuck's wrong with me? Did I actually read them all? No, I didn't. Here we go. Kyle T. Grizzly. Fallout Arizona would be a good shout. See the aftermath of the breakdown of the Legion control over the places that... That's cool, but that's a little adjacent to probably Fallout New Vegas, yeah? I feel like that's a little close, in my opinion. Batman's butt sack. With Asha going heavy on Fallout, what do you think the probability now of getting OG Fallout console ports or even remakes Fallout 1 goes so hard? Yeah, I guess we were just talking about that, but I think the probability is like a little higher. It depends if they want to, like, what do they see value in investing in? A remake versus a port? I hope it, I mean, I want both. I'm selfish. I want both. I want a port so people can experience the original. I want a remake because I want to see what, like, the OG Fallout devs would do nowadays with the tech they have. That'd be awesome. I would really like to see an open world and utilizing the concept like Fallout 2 Highwayman. Give it a Mad Max style. Ooh, the utility of the Highwayman for storing gear. Yeah, I do like the whole car thing. Car angle in a Fallout game would be sick. Just managing the fuel, managing those resources. That'd be fucking awesome, bro. I like this one. Shout out to Tolson. That's a good shout. I'd like Fallout 5 to have Fallout 3 environment and atmosphere, New Vegas story and faction, and Fallout 4 gameplay are better. This is the ideal Fallout game. People don't want to admit it. This is the ideal Fallout game. There's like parts of the Bethesda style Fallout game that need to carry over into what Obsidian's doing, and I think we should all admit that. But I agree. Like, if we can get this right here, God tier. God tier. Also, maybe a good project would be to create first-person style Fallout 1 and 2 remakes. Yeah, the thing with Fallout 1 and 2 remakes is you can remake them so many ways. I imagine, given the scale of the amount of locations they'd have to cover and the way you traverse those locations, is that Fallout 1 and 2 probably being remade like an isometric RPG, like a Baldur's Gate 3 would be better than remaking it like a first-person game. But there are mods trying to do it as a first-person game, and I think that's very admirable. So I could be wrong on, like, I might be thinking about it in this moment too confined. But that's the thing, is that Fallout 1 and 2 can be remade 2 different ways. That's a hard choice into itself. That's why I think they'll do ports first. I would love for more Fallout CRPGs, man. I also wouldn't be too against Bethesda allowing for spin-offs in other genres like a strategy role-playing game, but that's not really everyone's cup of tea. Cheers, lads. Thank you, Peter. Good to see you, dude. Strategy role-playing game would be interesting, too. Yeah, I think the thing I always struggle with is, like, Fallout's a game where I don't like to see a lot of things on screen at once. So, like, a lot of characters, unless it's, like, a central moment, like a Battle for Hoover Dam. Like, that's why I think 76 is weird. I think it's so weird watching people, like, jump because they have a fucking, like, mutation, like, 40 feet high. Shit bugs the hell out of me. It just feels very world-breaking. And so, when I see, like, that type of stuff or just massive amounts of characters, I'm like, this is supposed to be a wasteland. Or this is supposed to be, like, outside of, like, concentrated locations where they're living, there shouldn't be tons of people gathering for fights. So strategy role-playing game could be interesting. If you're thinking, like, Fire Emblem style, though, where it's, like a war that's being fought between 2 factions, like, Fire Emblem style Fallout would be sick, dude. I'd love that, too. This sucks. So much talent lost. Yeah, man, it is tough. I'm trying to stay open-minded to it all. A lot of people... losing their jobs is not easy. At the same time, I think a lot of these teams are way too big. Like, we can't have our cake and eat it too. There's been numerous complaints from fans that, like, oh, the reason all these people that we care about have left Bethesda Game Studios is because of the layers of communication. And those same people are, like, complaining that Bethesda Game Studios has a lot of its talent slimmed out. Not saying that laying off someone who's worked at a company for 27 years is a good thing, but so a lot of stuff needed to change at these companies. A lot. So, a lot of talent lost for sure. Broadly speaking, across the industry, it's like almost impossible to recover from. We're just going to have to wait for the cycle to reset for a new generation to get into game development and go from there. A new Fallout game takes place in the desert again. I would like a hybrid. As in, I would like to see... I think about how Fallout 4... One of the best things about Fallout 4's map design is it kind of covers all these grounds. Like, you have the concentrated city space of the Commonwealth. You kind of have, like, the rural neighborhoods, such as Sanctuary. But then you also have, like, the Glowing Sea, which is just, like, barren Fallout. And I'd like to have, like, a desert location that could live alongside, like, a centralized point of, like, civilization. I think that would be really neat. We've seen a lot of desert Fallout recently, so I would like something that kind of... I like what 76 does. 76 is very vegetation-heavy. It almost doesn't feel, in a lot of respects, post-apocalyptic, so I think balancing it more in favor of, like, barren would be good. But we've seen a lot between the TV show, Burning Springs, obviously New Vegas being the most popular one, the originals, like, a lot of, like, just deserts. But we haven't really seen, in fairness, a mainline entry do it since New Vegas, so it might be overdue. I think trying a different... Yeah, a lot of people are saying snowy. I was going to say, I think trying a new environment archetype would be cool. Like, can you imagine if they did, like, a snowy environment like people are suggesting? And I mean, that's what Wasteland 3 does, and it's amazing. Thinking about that in the Fallout universe could be really cool. As long as I get Ranger armor its peak. Yep, I'm sure they'll do that, no doubt. I'm sure there will be, like, a rare set of armor that you can get from a quest line, and it'll give you exactly that. Hear me out. Fallout 1 and 2 remakes in the Wasteland 3 style minus the squad-based dynamic. I'd actually like the squad-based dynamic, but I'm down for this, Miller. Absolutely. I think this is something I pitched a while ago. I said like, Wasteland, take the Wasteland 3 asset kit, take the tech, and just build a Fallout game with that. You could literally reuse everything that's there and still be fine. I'd love that, personally. Just remember, there's a lot of us out here that don't like isometric games. Even open world, they still feel restricted due to view restrictions. For sure. I mean, I think that's the beauty of Fallout is you can do both. I think they'll go for something more general, like first person, something like, again, open world. But I do think that there's going to be room for isometric style Fallout because I can't imagine they're looking at the history of Fallout and then looking at Baldur's Gate 3 and thinking, we don't have something here. You know, I get it, but like that you don't like isometric games, but think about it that a 20+ million copy seller exists. And if you have a well-written Fallout game that is like that game, I think it could sniff close to that for sure. If not surpass it, if it does really well, you know? And if it's like co-op, oh man. That's the thing. Fallout could be co-op. I wouldn't mind. Fallout doesn't need to be full-on like live service multiplayer. About to sneeze, I think. Pardon me. I want a far out. Oh my god, a Fallout farming sim set in the Midwest. A farming sim would be interesting. I mean, you kind of got that a little bit with the settlement mode, but I like this. I like where our heads are at. We're thinking of new modes. We're thinking of new additions, new features. Would you rather have a new Fallout in the Pacific Northwest or New Orleans? Oh my god. Well, I've been to the Pacific Northwest, so I can at least speak from experience that I think that would be fucking cool. Thank you, chat, for blessing me. But New Orleans sounds like... I haven't been to New Orleans, but, like, the culture... oh, dude. New Orleans would be so fucking great. When you... like, at least from what I know about it, you know, the swamps, the old city feel of it. I could see the neon lights... I could see kind of like the voodoo magic kind of playing a factor in all of this. That kind of deep South feel. Man, I think that'd be fucking awesome. I kind of am in favor of New Orleans because of the culture, really. You know, that's my 2 cents, at least. But I've been to the Pacific Northwest, where at least I can say, like, that would be really good, too. Just, like, the scenery, for sure. Place like Seattle, you know, Skyline Tower, or the Space Needle. Holy crap, Skyline Towers and Niagara Falls. The Space Needle, just places like that. That'd be awesome too. The Pike Marketplace would be awesome to see. A lot of good shit, dude. I feel like New Orleans is the pick. I feel like, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Fallout South of Midnight, yeah, but South of Midnight had a lot of great ideas. And honestly, its setting is one of its well-executed ideas. So, I wouldn't hate Fallout South of Midnight on premise, if you will. Missed it when the news broke yesterday. You see there's going to be Kingdom Hearts panel at D23 yesterday. You think we're getting another trailer? I'm sure. I think they're kicking up the marketing finally, or at least we're going to get information on it. But yeah, I saw it. I'm happy to see that they're finally talking about the fucking game. It's been so overdue. So I am excited about that. But also, like, what I've seen so far from Kingdom Hearts 4, I don't think it looks very good. I need to see more. It doesn't look particularly inspiring at this moment. So yeah, I hate to be that guy, but yeah, it's been a rough go for Kingdom Hearts, man. They got to win me back. Chain Empire Fallout Roundhouse Nuke Kicks. That'd be like one of the fighting styles is just like a nuclear style. Can you imagine? Shout out to Mike Fury, OG. Mike, thank you for your super chat. I just hope whatever the next Fallout ends up being, it doesn't rely on procedural AI the way that Bethesda did the planets and bases in Starfield. Well, yeah, if it's Obsidian, at least we don't have to worry about that too much. So there is that. Fallout Belgium. Yes, Locke. Yes, let's go to Belgium. I don't think we have to worry too much about procedural tech yet creeping into this new Fallout game. But when Bethesda takes it over, I think so. Yeah. To follow up, I was thinking along the lines of Fire Emblem, XCOM, or even Unicorn Overlord. Would be cool if it followed a soldier during and briefly after the Great War and how MC survived. Hire Peter, bro. Hire this man. A Fire Emblem style game set during the pre-war? Fuck. Sign me up. I'm there. That's a good idea, dude. Oblivion Remaster still broken. Spent 500 hours on the OG. Yeah, I mean, depends what your definition of broken is. Can you handle like stuttering and occasional crashing? Then yeah, it's still broken. So, you know, I spent probably as many hours as you did in the original, but yeah, with the remaster, it was far less, unfortunately. Fallout Japan, Mithu, I think that's like one of the last things they'll do. You know, I think like they have a lot of Europe to cover first. Maybe China because of the Great War. Like I think they'll hit those. And then Japan will be like, we're out of ideas. Breaking. Elder Scrolls 6 is a playable game within GTA 6. Yeah. I wonder, like, GTA 6 is going to have some type of, like, Roblox ass feature where you can just, like, create shit endlessly and people are going to make careers and monetize off of it. It's going to be ridiculous, I'm sure. Happiest Cabbage. Noah's doing great, dude. Recently engaged, and last I heard he's starting his own business soon in Texas. And I'm pumped for him. He's doing great. Thanks for the support long term, and shout out to Noah. Let's see here, Chin. As a streamer, what are parasocial relationships for you? I think when people just pretend to know you personally. I mean, that's what it is to me. It's just like, yeah, there's definitely a level. I think we have a really respectful chat. Y'all have been great. Like, there's a line, yeah, that you just don't cross. Like, and I appreciate that we have a sizable audience that doesn't cross that line, man. You know, it's important for us all to be comfortable. So, I definitely appreciate you checking on this. But also, like, I definitely don't have it as bad as someone like Colin. You know, like Colin gets it pretty bad where people like imitate the way he speaks and shit. And I don't think he cares, but like, I look at him like, oh boy, like I'm glad that no one has deified me to that extent because they like my shit. You know, I don't want people imitating me and whatnot. I want them to be able to think for themselves. Murphy, thank you for your super chat. I'm hoping Obsidian can stick to the older art style of Fallout like we got in 3 in New Vegas. Fallout 4 looked too retro future and lost that brutalist style. This is a really good point. I liked Fallout 4's style because it fit with the theme of the game, which is a lot about rebuilding. But I will say that the older style, something a little bit more grittier, like you said, brutalist, I think does lend itself well to Fallout. If it's built in Unreal Engine, that's going to be one of their biggest challenges, is trying to not make it look too dreamy and pretty. You know, like I think that's the main thing they got to stay away from. Glowing colors, stay away from that too. Like I think they really need to embrace like the shadows and the grit. So this is a good point here. And if it's on Unreal Engine 5, bless their surface artists. What do you think about San Francisco for Fallout? Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz, Mutated Sharks. This has been my pick for Fallout 5 for a while, when it was Bethesda Game Studios. And I wonder if maybe that's why Bethesda tried to stop Obsidian, because that I never. Oh fuck! This is a new theory. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. I think I just cracked the code. Hear me out. You're gonna see this on a Reddit thread somewhere. Hang on. I think I got it. Josh Sawyer was working on a San Francisco set Fallout game. Todd Howard, given that he has teased San Francisco, not only in Fallout 4, but also deliberately told Obsidian back in 2010, do not take San Francisco off the map because we are going to use it later. Todd had that on his environment list plan. When he saw that Obsidian Entertainment was making a San Francisco set Fallout game, he's like, you can't call it Fallout because we're going to do that. And then Asha stepped in and said, no, we are going to let you do that. We're going to call it Fallout. That's Fallout 5. I'm a fucking genius. Dude, I felt like you saw steam coming out of my ears at that moment. Dude, I have to do this for years. Do you get this? I have to do this for years. This report broke 6 days ago, and I'm already losing my fucking mind. Ugh. Man. Man, oh man alive. Tell yourself whatever you need to, man. Whatever helps me survive these next couple of years. See, chat agrees. 5D chess, it just works, would be insane. Achievement unlock. Come on now. Come on now. I got it. Boy, genius got it. All right, let's Ploofy 9. Hey Matty, been watching since COVID. Your videos got me through some pretty tough times, so thanks for being a positive figure in gaming. Thank you. My pleasure, dude. I'm glad you're doing better now. Happy to hold it down. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting. Whew, I think I'm caught up now. Thank you guys for all your support, man. Shall we do some slop? Shall we? We have a lot to go through today. We have a PlayStation 6 story I want to talk about. Obviously very passionate about that. We have an analyst wanting GTA 6 for $200. I want to talk about that as well, because it never seems like it's enough. And then Halo Studios leadership issues. And team, I'm curious what is standing out to you most of those three. If chat would like to let me know, I'd be happy to start with whatever piques your interest most. So we'll talk about either the Rebs gaming report for Halo, GTA 6 at $200, or impending PS6 disaster. I'll leave it to you guys, and I'll vibe check the chat and go from there. In the meantime, we have one from Chris the Killer. Devlogs for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 talk about contrasting stormy Seattle with the harsh neon lighting of the city. Maybe Fallout could maybe could benefit from this. Yeah, I mean, certainly Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 just sunk itself because of its name, but like, it's a beautiful setting. It's awesome. Definitely a really, on an artistic front, well realized setting. They did really well with that. All right, let's see. Chat is saying here, GTA 6, PS6, PS6, Halo. I'm seeing a lot of PS6. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of PS6 stuff. All right, so we'll do. It looks like the order will be PS6 and then Halo and then GTA. It looks like I'm seeing more. Yeah. Okay. Let's do PS6 first. Thanks, guys. Okay. Let me bring up my links for this here. Yeah, this PS6 one's hilarious. Am I? Okay. Let me make sure all the stories are centered here. I always move around my browser shit, so. Okay. 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 You can already see where we're going with this, can you? Yeah, can you see it? Can you tell? Oh, yeah, you can see where we're going with this one. Okay, cool. We look good here. Let me check a couple things. I know I needed a specific quote from one of these here. Okay. And where's the quote I'm looking for? Okay. Yeah, we're good. Where's the quote? Okay, there we go. IGN always buries their fucking stories because they're just like trying so hard to keep you engaged with their website. That's why I like wanted to prepare it, because like you've seen me so many times on Matty Slop read these IGN articles, and then like they have like 40 fucking paragraphs of just them like blobbing and trying to link their own shit, and then they bury the quote gently within the article, and they link a bunch of their own stuff, and they never link their actual source. They just link it back to a topic within their own ecosystem because they don't want you going to other websites. It's ridiculous, dude. All right, sorry. All right, here we got, that is a hell of a name, dude. I think Asha is doing great. The generational talent we're losing are people generationally talented in not putting any games out or what we want to play. Oh, man. Speak with your chest, dude. I respect it. Thank you for supporting. All right, let me pause the Tez 6 music. And then... I say Tez 6? Holy shit, bro. I'm cooked. Skyrim music. It's also Elder Scrolls Online, too. Anyway, let me pause it. And then, let's do our slot. If you guys would like, feel free to spam your meat emojis in the chat. Whether they be members or free. Happy to have your meat. Okay. Let's do this. Let me get shit out of the way here so I can reach my stream deck. All right. Here we go, guys. Let me start the recording here. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your favorite form of slop. It is PlayStation 6, the most anticipated console of all time that we all can't wait to pay over $1,000 for, I am sure. Today, we're assessing the scene because obviously, in light of what's happening with physical games, PlayStation is really setting the standards for what you can expect with that PlayStation 6 coming up. Specifically, we know, okay, there's not going to be a disk drive. I mean, for all our revolting and all our pushback and all the videos being made about it and all the articles, like we have mainstream media, we have lawmakers getting involved. They just like PlayStation's like, if we just don't care enough, maybe it'll go away. So in that, I want to take a look at the PS6 and why I think it's a bit of an impending disaster that will not sell nearly as well as the PS5 even, and that might be part of the plan, but I just want to unpack looking into that next generation. I know for many of us, we're on the same page. At least for me, I say this as someone who's covered gaming for half their life. I always look forward to the new console generation, right? It's a moment we all come together. Excitement reaches like a fever pitch. Even in situations like the Switch 2, I kind of went to that midnight release on sort of the idea of like, I don't know how many more of these we've got left. So I think it says a lot when someone like me is looking down the pipe at a PS6 and going, you have neutered my excitement. Same thing goes for Helix, just because, again, what Sarah Bond was saying leading into the Helix, like, yeah, it's a very premium console. It's like, okay, so this is a country club activity now. Sick. One thing that I think is worth paying attention to with this generation is specifically how long developers have held on to the last generation, as in PS4 and Xbox One. We just saw a story break this week, and it was from Techland announcing that Dying Like the Beast would not be releasing on PS4 and Xbox One because they have accepted the technical realities. Their full statement was saying, after careful consideration, we have made the difficult decision that Dying Like the Beast will no longer be released on PS4 and Xbox One. It was built from the ground up to take full advantage of current-gen hardware. Its open world, advanced visuals, and fluid combat and traversal all depend on processing power and memory that previous generation consoles simply cannot provide. As development progressed, it became clear that bringing the game to those platforms would require compromises that would prevent us from delivering the experience that we set out to create. Now, a lot of people saw this and they're like, just move on, bro. Oh my God. But a couple things we don't realize. One, people still use their PS4 and Xbox Ones a ton. Secondly, those install bases are huge. And this is millions of dollars that they have chosen to abandon. We saw a similar story earlier in the year when we learned that Call of Duty was finally moving on from the PS4 and Xbox One. Ladies and gentlemen, do I need to remind you what year it is? It's 2026, and we're getting stories of people moving on now from PS4 and Xbox One, whether it be a game like Dying Like the Beast, which is big, but not like Call of Duty big. So developers big and small have been focusing on that last-gen version. Hell, Jedi Survivor, which was broken at launch, that released on the PS4. Think about it, man. They've been supporting this for so long into the generation, and for those, it's purely anecdotal. It kind of just had to be there. But I distinctly remember from 2013 to 2014, the amount of bitching by myself and others where we were wondering, when are we getting PS4 exclusive games, and how quickly the prior generation of the 360 and the PS3 were dropped. Granted, that was a long generation, but we moved on really fast. We're 6 years in, and we're seeing developers put out statements that they are moving on from the PS4 and Xbox One. So think about how slow, generally speaking, the adoption rate has been for what we're seeing right now with the PS5 and Xbox One, which by comparison to the PS6 and Helix has been more readily available. There have been moments of shortages with like COVID and whatnot. And obviously now with AI, there have been it's been sandwiched between shortages, but for the most part, availability picked up. And we still saw with that adoption rate and with prices that were for at least most of the generation, something you could stomach, something that could go on sale, something that you get in the holiday period. This is still like something that did well enough, and we have yet to move on for the prior generation, right? Keep that in mind, because now we're looking ahead at the PS6, and I think we're going to have the same story but longer for the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles, because here we have this story from Insider Gaming where they're reporting that, according to Kepler, the bill of materials for the PS6 has increased by $200 since March 2026. And obviously we've heard with what's going on with the Ramageddon that prices are going to double by this holiday and then double again next holiday. So right now they're saying that it would cost $760 to manufacture a PS6 And with the price increase of $200, it means the PS6 now will cost $960 to build. PlayStation has already said they're not looking to take a loss on this stuff. So you're looking at $1,000 PS6 at minimum. And as I said before, I'm prepared for $1,500. Not prepared in the way like I'm welcoming it, I've saved for it, and I'm excited for it. But if the Steam machine, which is weaker hardware, I imagine, is going for $1,500 and PS6 is going to be more powerful, oh boy. I mean, at a certain point, you have to imagine they have to eat something to make this work, where I feel like $1,500 is the limit, but I might be dreaming a bit. And by this holiday, I could be singing a different tune. Anyway, that's what we're looking at there. I don't think a lot of people are going to pony up for that. And I think PlayStation is making all these plans knowing that. So the PS5, according to them, is only in the middle of their journey. And this was as of November 2025. So, okay, it launched in 2020. We're halfway there. So we're not really abandoning this thing until 2030. And even then, it seems like developers are not going to move on for another. Like, we're talking about a console that might be supported until 2035. Because we don't know what's going to happen with Ramageddon and how prices are actually going to regulate. I'm not a believer that it's just going to suddenly settle. But here's what PlayStation said in an earnings call. Quote, our view is that compared to conventional console life cycles, looking at the PS4 life cycle, it seems to be getting longer and longer, especially the PS4 was launched in 2013. It's been over a decade since then. But there are many active users enjoying the console. So from that perspective, we believe that the PS5 is only in the middle of its journey, and we are really planning to expand that even further. I think this is why we're probably getting price increases in the first place is, yes, like Ramageddon, sure. But I also think part of the reason that we are getting price increases is because they're like, we're going to be selling this thing. Like, if people are still buying PS4s and using it now, and that was a 2013 device, right? It's now 2016. They're probably looking at it like, we need to be able to profit off of the PS5 sales, right? And I feel like I'm kind of late to that party. Like, I feel like I should have put that together a lot quicker, seeing all these stories. But again, this is why I think the PS6 is going to be, as we'll get into with analyst projections, I think woefully underpurchased. Because I think people are going to be like, yeah, they're making that game for PS5. Devs need a reason to make games for the PS6. And a lot of that reason is the adoption rate. Like, okay, people are really going hard on this. And are companies really going to fund multi-$100 million efforts to convince you to go buy a PS6 when there's not enough of a base there to support that game? It's a rock and a hard place for the PS6 and Helix, of course. So what I want to do now is take a look at an analyst prediction for year one. This is a report shared by gamesindustry.biz, and it's taking a look at an analysis from the firm S&P Global Market and Intelligence. And to break this graph down very quickly here, what they're expecting is Helix will attract 2 million console sales in its launch year and 7.3 million by 2030. Now, I don't put all my stock into analysts and projections. They are based off of data, but it's definitely important for this conversation here of what we're looking at here. Now, what we've seen is that PS5 is outselling Xbox by 3-1 at this point in the generation. So you could really throw the PlayStation 6 into that 6 to 8 million category, I think. But here we've got their projections, which are saying, as for the PS6, the firm expects it to release in 2028 and attract 4 million buyers in its first year, scaling to 17.2 million by 2030. So in that 2-year window, 17.2 million. Why is this important? Walk with me here. Here we go. Can you guess how many million of units were sold for the PS5 in 1 year? Here you go. 17 million units shipped since November 2020. And this article was written February 2nd, 2022. How about that? And this was a rocketing pace for PlayStation. But now we're seeing here that it'll be a year behind schedule. I don't think that type of adoption rate is going to lead to a lot of exclusive games being made for the PS6, especially in the case of Helix. It's like, I guess that's why they're investing in exclusive content now. We'll see where it all goes. But if it's not affordable, it's cooked, dude. It's over. Now, there are ways that they can plan around this to make it a little bit cheaper to get in, but I still think even then we're looking at $1,000. PlayStation's boss had an interesting quote here, Hideaki Nishino, about being able to pick up and play what's coming up. Nishino also mentioned he thinks pick up and play is the most important quality for consoles nowadays. He said that developing game console experiences will involve leveraging technologies that can be used in various forms and locations, and that this would enable Sony to create something exciting. Quote, for example, although the PlayStation brand is strongly associated with playing on the TV in the living room, we're planning to release monitors and speakers so that people can play comfortably in other locations as well. We developed the PlayStation Portal as part of this initiative. And that's obviously what was on my mind, but of course, this really does lean a bit more into them looking at handhelds. So I think an affordable handheld with, say, the power of a PS5 that can play PS6 games at a lowered setting could do them some favors, but it's got to be affordable. But I think the plan at this point is really just to lean into this PS5 generation forevermore. I don't think the adoption rate will be huge for the PS6, especially because are we at the point where we're like, do we feel like the PS5 and Series X have been fully taken advantage of? I don't. I feel like there's still more stuff that we can squeeze out of this. And in some ways, we felt like early in this generation, we were marching backwards when we were getting games that were, quote, looking prettier, but we're at a lower frame rate. Like, we went back on frame rate for a while. Like, that whole conversation of this would be the generation of 60 FPS standard came at a cost. So I think nowadays, like, the PS6 could feel like a glorified PS5 Pro. And I don't know if that's a compelling sales pitch unless there are some, a litany of games to really back it up. And even then, it's got to be affordable. I think gaming's at its best and it's most popular when it's affordable. And boy, the timing of this one is hilarious. Video Cards is covering this here, where they highlight that PS5 emulator has reached GTA 5 menus and first 3D games are now loading on PC. And this article covers that this emulator can outrun things like Power Wash Simulator, Pac-Man World. It can boot GTA 5 to different menus. I was watching videos about this emulator, and I was seeing that there were people firing up Astrobot. There were people that were firing up Dead Cells in their videos and showing it working with their dumped copies that they owned into this emulator. And this is the thing that, like, people are saying, PlayStation, you wanted an all-digital future? Here you go, man. Here comes the emulation arms race. And I think it's going to get nasty. And it's going to come to a point where I think PlayStation is going to be like, give them the physical copies because at least they're going to, like, buy that. You know? So I think what we're seeing here collectively is a pricing of people out of a passion that they really care about. They're taking every measure to stay in it. And by they, I mean like players through emulation. And then you look at this, and I think most of us are just going to pray that our PS5s and Series X's don't break. And I think that's why some of these new pricing standards have been made alongside the increase of course, part costs. But there's really no demand for a 6. And it's so funny because even pre-AI, I feel like there was already a murmuring around the industry of like, do we really need a PS6? So again, looking holistically at the entire PS6 situation, again, let's break it down. Let's put it all in a nutshell here. You've got a slow adoption rate, right? You got Dying Like the Beast, Jedi Survivor, Call of Duty, tons of games that are still trying to release on the PS4, and understandably so. Massive install base, millions of dollars to be made there. You have a PS6, which reportedly, as of March of this year, would cost $960 to make, so it's at least $1,000 system. That price is no doubt going to go up by 2028. Okay, cool. PS5's in the middle of its journey, even though apparently they're going to launch a PS6 soon. Projections are looking low, and for PS6 to match the first year of PS5, it's going to need to be on the market for multiple years, and game development costs are going up. And on top of that, you've got a portable option on the way, which will at least be a cheaper option, maybe a kind of PlayStation Switch-like option. That could be really good. That could be really interesting. I think that sort of pick up and go is what really works for me nowadays. That could get me over the hump alongside PlayStation respecting my purchasing habits, but looking purely from a hardware standpoint. And then emulation is booming right now. It's taking huge steps forward. So I think PlayStation's got to be careful, man. But I think, again, what we're really registering here is hold on to your PS5s. Because you're going to be using them for a while. And I think we're going to go back to that wave of like, I don't care about frame rates as much. I don't care about fidelity as much. I want my games to be affordable. And so I think a lot of people are not going to adopt that newer hardware. I think they're going to look ahead to things like, again, the games. And can I access these on PS5? And that's where it gets interesting as well, because we do have PS5s with disk drives, but PlayStation's no longer doing that, right? They're no longer producing discs as far as we know. Okay. So what's going to happen to the PS5 storefront? So we're just all buying games on the PS5 there as well. I'll have a disk drive on my PS5. Most of us do who bought it at launch. And I'm buying all my games digitally now because that's the only way they're produced. That seems a little backwards from what I bought all those years ago, but you're going to continue to support this generation for probably 15 years, all things considered. Messy situation. And what I would call an impending disaster. I'm like, I think this doesn't result in a lot of PS6s sold that they're trying to force on you. And this doesn't really, to me, make the most sense of why you have to change the entire infrastructure of the way games are purchased and the way they're priced out at $80 and all that stuff. I don't look at this and go, okay, I get it now. I look at this and say, this looks like a shit show in the making, and a lot of people are going to say, I'll stick with my current console, thanks. Or, oh, you're going to charge me that much. If that's what I need to access the new generation of games, I'm going to go over to PC. I really think that is what will end up happening, because PC gaming is the largest growing part of gaming in general right now. A lot of people have just kind of ripped off the fear and been like, I'm just going for it. And they have loved it. And especially things like the Steam machine have made that more accessible. So I think price is key here. I think if the price is right, then people will adopt it. But if it's not, there is only so far that I think PlayStation loyalty will go. And same thing with Xbox. So we'll see where these new consoles end up. But certainly I'm not sitting here thinking that they're about to absolutely pop off. And so I think a lot of people will be returning to their backlog. But time shall tell. Chat, I want to hear from you. How are we feeling about the PlayStation 6 and what we would call an impending disaster? Do we agree or no? I had a lot of fun with that one. That was some good slop right there. Portable systems suck. Aaron's pew pew. How could you say that? I love portable systems. The thing that we need to get to with these portable systems is making them where you can actually, how do I word it? Making it where I can actually travel with it and it doesn't take up like a huge part of my backpack. That would be a huge win. I'd love that. I like how slim the Switch is. It does make it a little travel friendly. We are so cooked. I don't play on PlayStations. I don't know. Fuck the PS6. We're doomed. Oh no. We're dooming. Oh no. Let's see here. PS6 disaster. Let's call that the file name and let's get that over to Emmett. Would you be excited for an Xbox handheld? I would be, Playboy Cardi, but they kind of put a bullet in that by doing the fucking ROG Ally. I'm not gonna lie, this electrolyte packet kind of cooks. I might be addicted. I don't know. PS6 will be great because it'll be the first time scalpers get scammed. Fuck yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a super chat here. Let me just hit this real quick. I can't put it up on screen. Swampsta Kerr asked, what are the quality of life changes Fallout 3 Remake needs to have? I just think better shooting and sprinting. I really don't think it goes further than that. I hope they don't like make the game look too pretty. I'd have a lot of feelings about that if they like got away from the kind of grungy look of it all. So that my hope is just let it shoot a little bit better, you know. Where are you, Emmett? Visually, the price for performance is not there. I think it's going to be a big issue in itself. Fun as a metric, 1080p versus 4K is not worth the extra money right now. Exactly. Like, it's just, if life weren't so expensive, I also wonder what this appeal would be. If like, oh yeah, I could swing for like the 4K. This is a really great question. Optic Darkside asks, as someone who covers gaming for a living, are you going to purchase a PS6 even for professional reasons? I talked about this last stream. It's a really tough line to walk because, of course, I need to do my job. And I think there's more people that expect me to do my job than to me, like, to be a stick in the mud. You know, I think, like, people rely on me for information at the end of the day. They rely on me to deliver that information to help them make purchasing decisions. So I would like to, but I really would like to see PlayStation explain how they are going to support my purchasing habits. If you're going to go all digital, how do I know I own my digital copy? You know, that could at least massage it a little bit, sort of like a Steam. I'm not even trying to bend the knee on it. It's just like I need more from them. I need safer security protocol on the PlayStation 6. Like, I need a lot of things from them. And I think they have these answers, but I imagine they're holding back until they can actually announce the PS6. Because all these updates they have are tangentially, not even tangentially, just completely connected to that system, which they have yet to officially reveal. So I think that's why their hands are a bit tied right now. Why I don't get why they had such an aggressive Band-Aid rip outside of, again, what I predicted here with the PS5 being supported long-term with physical games. I feel like they could have just done an off-ramp a lot easier and charged more for physical games and said, hey, here's the pricing breakdown. Here's why we can't do this. If you want physical games, we've got you. And the off-ramp just is kind of there at that point. But, you know, it's definitely like a, if like the PS6 is just a situation, like I didn't buy the Steam machine, right? It was too much money. I want to spend my money elsewhere. You know, right now I'm investing in a video game. I'd rather do that instead of buying a Steam machine to get one video out of it being like, I played the Steam machine. Here are my thoughts. Also, I think the best thing a content creator can do is try to base the value of their content around like themselves and like sort of what they specialize in. In my case, like that's a lot of Xbox and Bethesda, like role-playing games and general industry news. And so will my audience even be, the thing is that I think like YouTube content's trained us to think like I need to be there for the PS6 launch, but honestly my audience isn't that interested in it, you know? Like right now, y'all, I don't think based on what I read in chat and I read in comments, I don't think everyone's like, I really want your take on the PS6 to see if I could buy it. I think people have already made up their minds if it's going to be 1,000 plus. They're like, yeah, probably out unless there's something really astounding about this that pulls us all in. So what does my review serve? So the long answer, or the short answer to the long answer, is I really have to think about it. You know, like it's a tightrope to walk where it's like because then again, it's like, let's think about Elder Scrolls 6. Of course, that's the game everyone expects me to be there for. If Elder Scrolls 6 is only available on Helix, I have to buy a Helix. You know, they've got me there. Like, I've been covering Elder Scrolls since Skyrim came out. You can find the videos. I'm not missing that, you know. But do I care enough about God of War or Horizon to go buy a PS6? No. No, they'll have to get me with something else. So I'm most likely out at this point. You know, can they win me back? I've said this so many times. Yeah, they can 100% try to win me back. I'd welcome it. I don't want to hate PlayStation. I don't want to hate Nintendo. I don't want to hate Xbox. But they've got to start putting up some good talk on why I should care. Beyond the fact that I've been a PlayStation fan for most of my life, like many of us have. You know? Anyway, thanks for that question. That was a really good one. Yeah, only way I buy a new PS6 is if we get a new Sly Cooper game. Satchel's cooking, for sure. I think the PS6 is still a strong system, so no need for PS6. Or PS5 is a strong system, so I don't think there's a need for PS6 yet. I agree, Mithu. I don't feel like there's a need. Maybe they really shock us with something, but honestly, what sounds more appealing to me is the PS6 handheld is actually a PS5, but on the go. That'd be more useful for me than a PS Portal. So that would maybe get me, but otherwise, yeah, just stick with your PS5s for now. At the $1,200 to $1,800 range, isn't Helix the better buy since you can play console exclusives and a 20-year back catalog of PC games console users never played? Well, yeah, that's if they're supporting multiple storefronts, which Asha Sharma kind of walked back on. I think that still seems to be the case, but I think they're rethinking Helix to be more of a traditional console. So it's a really good point here. I don't think you're wrong. I think that does become a better buy from a content standpoint. And you throw in Game Pass if it's even just a content library. It's not even day one stuff. I think it does throw in a little value there. But I think that hardware price tag, that sticker shock is going to be like, I think people are underestimating that. Even if it's the better buy, I think people are like, yeah, it's a better buy, but I'm fine. Rocking a hard place moment. I'd have had a lot of fun collecting for PS4 and 5, but I think I might mainline Switch moving forward. Sony's Xbox One moment feels worse and won't dissipate. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been looking into Switch 2 ports. Like, let me show you guys an example of one. Hang on. What's the game called? Look at this. This is why I was happy I waited. So I don't own this game yet, but I really wanted to play it. But I remember telling Locke I wanted to play this game on Switch, Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, because it's just a big CRPG title. I just see myself picking it up, holding it, playing for a while, then docking it. Like, Switch just works for me and how I play now, which is why I'm very open to what PlayStation's doing with that. And if Xbox is doing a similar thing, I'll be all over that too. But this sort of Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader getting a physical release and everything's on the cart, and it's got even the Season 1 pass on there. Like, fuck yeah, dude. So, I mean, I know right now Nintendo's doing great with physical stuff, so I'd like to support that where it makes sense. I'm going to get Oblivion remastered on Switch too. So I think that's the best we can do is just take our purchasing somewhere else in the meanwhile while PlayStation figures it out. When PlayStation has a game I want, like Wolverine, I'll buy that physically. Never going to buy a PS6. They have taken the crown from Xbox 4, have no games. I also cannot support the platform's horrible security. Yeah, that last part, bro. Very under-discussed component in it all. It's like they can just, you can lose your whole library. Darth Monkey, I'm not getting that game on PC. Nope. We're not doing it. I totally respect the move, but I'm not doing it. It is a full game cart, and I will be there. Especially, I think that type of RPG just translates really well to handheld. Like, that really works for me. But I cannot wait to play it. I'll be playing that this year. I have no games. Yeah, PlayStation's kind of like, if they didn't have their partners, man, it'd look really bleak for their first party. As a PC gamer, the only benefit I saw on console was physical media. After 2028, at least for PlayStation, I'll just be all PC. There you go. And this is how they lose a lot of customers. I think they must have pushed the data and said, like, we'll lose X million, but that's fine. Do you think Wolverine selling more physical will send a message to Sony? No, I think by that point it's a moot point. But at least I know I'm purchasing consciously as someone who's engaged with the hobby, you know? I think it's the best we can all do. I think if PlayStation saw, like, oh shit, it's 90-10 split. 90% of people bought physical here. Yeah, I think that would make them blink, for sure. PS refund policy is horrendous. Yeah, dude, they like... Dude, if you fucking install the game, they're like, yeah, it's cooked. Sorry, you don't... Like, they don't even have the Steam 2-hour rule. It's a terrible refund policy. Yeah. It's bad, bro. Not good for the hobby. They're actively neutering it. It's terrible. I'm glad Hawk and Happy as Cabbage are enjoying the OST, man. Yeah. Everyone seems to really like when we have the Elder Scrolls music on in the background. It's become a little bit of a staple here. Let's see here.
What's up?
Get that up. We're just getting the next Matty slop set up, y'all. Do kids 15 and younger care for console gaming? Yeah, I think if they grow up in a gamer household, they do. I think there's certainly enough shareability on gaming that get people into it for sure, but I think the problem is that, like, it's expensive. You have to save up for it, and that's always been the case for gaming, but I think, like, now more than ever. It's not like a thing where you can ask your parents, like, Mom, can I get Xbox for Christmas? And it's like, oh, the $800 Xbox. Yeah, sure, sweetie. Like, it's not like when I was a kid where I was like, I want a Nintendo DS, and it was like $150, and my parents were like, yeah, we can do that. Like, oh, in a $30 game? Sure. I feel like it's a long time coming for Bethesda to be gutted and restructured. They got too big after Fallout 4, and their quality has dropped. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard. It's such a hard conversation to have in the industry because, like, when you say, like, I get it, people think you're a proponent for it. It's the pancakes waffle thing. Like, I love pancakes. Like, you fucking hate waffles? I'm like, no, I didn't fucking say that. I love waffles. I just like pancakes a lot, too, you know? Same thing here. It's like, I think I get why Bethesda got restructured. So many people have left because of the amount of middle management there. That's bad. That you lost a lot of key talent that way. Like, they chose to leave before they were forced out. So I do think Bethesda being reorged a bit makes sense, especially because I think people have also missed that they've been a disaster for like 10 years as a publisher. Like, there's just been a lot of messiness. And I think, like, when you've got that kind of issue, bro, and your games aren't selling well and you pivot into live service and you sell off, like, you sold the sinking ship. And so it's got to change. Yeah, but being able to return a game if you beat it within 2 hours is kind of crazy. Yeah, that's the strange part about it, Bad Dads. I don't know why anyone would want to make a 2-hour game, but There's some really impactful ones like Gone Home and stuff where it's like, yeah, I played that and I don't regret it, and returning it would feel disingenuous. I have a friend who beat what's the game? Mouthwashing, that's what it was. And he returned it. He's like, I fucking love this game. And I was like, you're a piece of shit, bro. You know that? Like, I straight up told him, I was like, you're a fucking piece of shit. He's like, what? Like, you fucking beat the game, talked about how it was like really changing your brain, and then you returned it? He's like, yeah, I mean, like, the system's broke. I'm like, dude, fuck you. I was like, you fucked over that team, bro. Do I think Fallout 3 Remaster will come to PlayStation? Right now, it's looking less likely. That's a, that exclusivity conversation is going to be something to reckon with when the remasters come out. I imagine those are deep enough where they will remain multi-plat. But the Obsidian one, maybe Xbox and PC exclusive, I don't know. And his name was Dustin. Yeah, Dustin and Brad have like fucking beat games on what's it called? On Game Pass and then just straight up refunded them. Should they retire Skyrim or remake it? They're going to remake it. I'll be the only person on the planet who's not fucking surprised when they remake that shit. Are you getting Marvel Tokon? Oh, yeah, that's, fuck, that's a PlayStation exclusive. Maybe I'll get that on PC. Yeah, I'll get that on PC. I want that physically, though. Fucking bastards. I do want to get it, though. Yeah. All right. Who's ready for round 2 of MattyPlays? Let's talk Halo for this next one, as we discussed earlier here. All right. Shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Ugh. I don't know why. It's like a habit. I always like to stretch before a nice recording. Get all the blood pumping through the body. Feel free to spam your meat emojis in the chat. All right. Oh, I missed a super chat here. Yodeling Llama, shout out to you again. Do you think Todd leaves after Elder Scrolls 6, or do you think he stays through Fallout 5 given all the restructuring? I've always felt like he's out after TES 6. That's been my prediction. I think he's out after TES 6. I feel like a lot of these moves could have hastened his exit. I think he might have been here through Fallout 5, but I think he's now through TES 6. So that's my 2 cents, man. But yeah, just crazy times, crazy times. All right, who's ready? Spam your mean emojis. Let's do this thing, man. Here we go. Let me get my notes up because I got a lot of them on this one. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your favorite form of slop. This time, I'm plopping some Halo on your plate. Well, tell me if you heard this one before. I guess I should really say this is a familiar form of slop, right? Like, Matty, Sloppy Joe's again. Holographic Meatloaf, my favorite. Like, we're kind of in that mode here. We're talking about Halo Studios leadership again. It's a disaster over there, man. And I'm so surprised with the resetting of Xbox that in Wave 1, Halo wasn't there. My prediction still remains, though, that I think they are going to mess with them a bit after the release of Campaign Evolved, which isn't too far off now. Why are we talking about Halo leadership again today? Well, of course, we've got the man, the myth, the legend to thank today, and that is Rebs Gaming. Whoops, I hit the wrong thing here. There you go. Rebs Gaming here. He has a great report that you should check out. I'll have it linked in the description down below, exposing Halo's destructive leadership. And we're going to be talking about all of that thanks to an article from WCCF Tech, which gets into Pierre Hintz, who is the studio head, and how he berated Halo teams, dismissed work-life concerns, and a lot more. And then this report was corroborated by Windows Central, which we'll be reading in a little bit, and some connecting reports to it. So again, I'll have Rebs Gaming's report down below. Please support him. I feel like he doesn't have nearly enough subs for how much waves he makes in the Halo community and how important what he does is. Like, if he's not reporting this, no one else is telling us about what's going on in Halo Studios, which sounds absolutely terrible. So with that, let's read what WCCF Tech has written. It says, Rebs Gaming sources blame specifically studio head Pierre Hintz, who reportedly has created a hostile environment and mismanaged projects, while Microsoft HR and senior Xbox leadership allegedly failed to intervene. Hintz was promoted from production to lead on September 13th, 2022, amid a company-wide restructuring that followed Infinite. Now, let me rewind the clock a bit on Pierre. This was an exciting premise because this was the guy that was said to be responsible for getting Halo Master Chief Collection back on track. And it seems like he led with a firm hand, but, you know, at the end of the day, Master Chief Collection was one of the biggest disasters in Xbox's history. He fixed it, and now it's really respected, and it does well. And even to this day, to Halo Studios' credit, they really supported that game well. It's such a worthwhile purchase. They've, again, done excellent work with it. So having the guy who was responsible for managing that project get it back on track, taking over as studio head, and Bonnie Ross leaves, felt like a good step forward, especially because at that point, this is a year after Halo Infinite has released almost. They missed their deadlines for things like Forge mode. People would just demand accountability, and finally they got it. So it seemed like, all right, we got what we wanted. At that point, though, I was also saying, like, look, when it comes to Halo Studios, like, I was kind of a proponent from post-Infinite, just take it away from this team and give it to someone else. I was one of those guys who said, like, try it out with id. You know, people are like, oh, well, id doesn't make that type of shooter. I'm like, they'll figure it out. They're really great at what they do. They'll figure it out. Give them that. And we don't need Halo Studios. Nonetheless, we still have them around. And here's where the report picks up. Rebs Gaming received accounts from current and former Halo staff who spoke anonymously because they are constrained by NDAs or worried about retaliation, which is a very real fear, it sounds like, and presented the video as an effort to pressure Microsoft into changing Halo leadership. According to these sources, Hintz caused repeated HR complaints, abusive behavior towards employees, poor project planning, shifting priorities, and a broader erosion of morale. More specifically, the video accused Hintz of routinely berating development teams to the point that staff allegedly became reluctant to show him work. Rebs Gaming even quotes an alleged "I don't give a fuck" response from Hintz to an engineering memo about work-life balance, and further claims he dismissed questions about workers gaining full-time status or better opportunities. One unnamed former staffer who worked close to the leadership said Hintz verbally attacked them, told them to leave the studio, and that subsequent appeal to Microsoft HR and legal were ignored, which, again, that's the thing, is that people look at, you know, what Halo Studios has done here, but really a lot of this does come down to Xbox permitting a lot of the bullshit that's happening here. Here was the quote from Reb's video. We'll go back to Windows Central for a moment here. Quote, "I was verbally blasted by Pierre. It's emotional and shocking, and to this day, I cannot believe Microsoft HR and legal did not give me the time of day. Pierre literally told me to get the fuck out of the studio. It traumatized me." So a lot of this reporting, you can argue, is one-sided as you read through it. Like, it's just completely framing Pierre Hintz and supporting Halo leadership in a really, really terrible light. But the thing is that we have to remember, this isn't a one-off. This has been consistent for fucking years. Even prior to Joe Staten, and then Joe Staten coming in and Joe Staten leaving, he helped right the ship, and then he left, and it just all came down to shit again. Now, the article covering Reb's report continues saying, then Rebs Gaming started naming employees who were slighted. Michael Farney, for instance, head of production and executive producer on Halo Campaign Evolved, was a longtime friend of Hintz, but was allegedly berated during the project's troubled development, demoted, took medical leave, and then was quietly dismissed during that leave. What? During medical leave, the guy got fired? Man, like, even as a one-sided look, that's fucking terrible. In the report, Rebs Gaming notes that while Matt Booty promoted Hints, the decisive support for his ascension to lead Halo Studios came from Craig Duncan, then head of Xbox Game Studios. It alleges that Duncan had known Hints for a long time and was meant to mentor him, but rarely did so because Duncan was based in London, which, like, wasn't this fucking obvious? They made him the head of Xbox Game Studios, Craig Duncan. But before that, this guy worked at Rare. He was the head of Rare, which was also in London. So when was he going to go over to the Pacific Northwest and help out at 343, aka Halo Studios, to make sure Hints knew how to lead a team here? And what's so funny about all of this is that before this, there's been such a whirlwind of news. I don't blame people for forgetting. Do you remember this headline here? This guy just stepped down alongside Chief of Staff Luis O'Connor, who was also from Rare. This was before we got news of the Xbox reset. So again, you could read into that a number of ways. It could be he was told to do X, Y, and Z, because at that point, the rumors had led to us to believe that Xbox was going to shut down a number of studios. And we were in the assumption Craig was like, I'm not going to do that. And he left. He was looking out for his teams. He could have also been told, hey, we're putting them out on the streets and they're going to shut down anyway. I'm not going to do that. And he left. But it could also be a situation of like, hey, Halo is fucked. You were supposed to oversee this and you didn't. You're gone too. It could also be a situation of Asha Sharma wants her own person overseeing Xbox Game Studios. But what's interesting is that we know this was a sudden decision made by Xbox, because when Duncan had replaced Alan Hartman, as illustrated in this article here, this was a decision that was planned out. Alan Hartman left in November 2024. Here comes Craig Duncan. When we had Craig Duncan leave, though, no one was there to fill the role, as it's mentioned here. So it's still, to our knowledge, empty. There is no head of Xbox Game Studios. Fifth point on this, again, because there's so many angles to pull out with this, it could be that, do we need a head of Xbox Game Studios? 14 layers of middle management is screaming in my ears. So yeah, I just thought the whole idea of him mentoring when there was no chance he'd actually be there to mentor is crazy. Like, it's one thing if he's based in the Pacific Northwest and he could consistently mentor, but this guy is in London. Whether he was working at Rare or he's working at Xbox Game Studios, he was in London. So no matter what, this guy was not going to be able to pit stop at the studio often. So he could pit stop, Pierre could put on his best face and then leave, and then Pierre goes back to being the Grinch. You know, that's what we're looking at here. So I don't get the fucking plan on that. But let's continue. The video also mentions two more people at a leadership level within Halo Studios. Chris Matthews, the studio art director, allegedly hired personal friends rather than the most qualified candidates, with Rebs Gaming characterizing this as cronyism and adding that former art director Glenn Israel publicly confirmed that claim on LinkedIn. Matthews was also reportedly brought to HR for inappropriate conduct towards coworkers and was made to apologize to the team in a meeting. Lastly, an unnamed source claims that the chief operating officer, Elizabeth Van Wyck, who's responsible for the studio's finances, was frequently focused on personal matters, including vacations, rather than the Halo business. That last one, man, it's so fucking perfect with everything that's going on. Yeah. The person who's budgeting the project's just fucking off for vacations, man. I could see the resentment on paper here, if even half of this is true. Now, the Glenn Israel one is worth revisiting for a moment here, because Glenn Israel, for those who don't remember, served in 3 director-level positions at Halo Studios, right? And these are on 3 different projects. He was laid off in 2025, right? And that was because it was told to him his role was no longer necessary. And I don't know, if you're a director in 3 different projects, which I think we can corroborate that. We had Infinite, we had what was originally Ecker, which is now canceled. We'll talk about that in a moment here. And then we also, on top of that, had whatever this new Halo multiplayer project that might be on the horizon is. So there are 3 things that he could have been involved in here. And then he's told, hey, your role's no longer necessary. Okay, fine, things change. But then a month later, his position was given to someone else. And then that same person would hire their friends. It's a strange sequence of events. I'm not totally against, like, you know, we see this, for example, we'll use Xbox. Asha Sharma joins Xbox. She's the head of the company. Out goes a lot of old Xbox staff. In comes a lot of the core AI team. Not saying that's good for the business, but it's extremely common that sports is another example. For those who watch any sport, new GM comes in, cleans house, brings in a new set of like team managers and player coaches, because this is their staff. They've given this team a fresh, clean slate with new marching orders. It's their decree. So this happens all over the business. I don't raise an eyebrow too heavily at that element. It's more so the we don't need you, and that's clear that they did need him, and they got rid of him, though, because they didn't like him, and that someone else took his spot. And that's not even they just, like, that's business, bro. It's like they were eliminated on the context of one thing, which is we don't need your position, and they created that position and gave it to someone else. It's a little fishy, right? And honestly, it doesn't seem very well thought out. So that's what Rebs Gaming reported on, which, again, reads terribly here. Firing someone during a medical leave. What happened with Glenn Israel? Firing your friends. Reported to HR. Apologizing in a meeting. Telling your coworkers, get the fuck out of the studio. Even if, again, like I'd say a quarter of this is true, it's a fucking horrible look given how much things have stalled out. Keep in mind that this new Halo project coming out, Halo Studios was like semi-involved in, but it's really an outsourced project. And they've been working on Ecker, which just got canceled. Now, let's go through what Windows Central had to share here, right? They say, Reb's videos are heavily editorialized and interspersed with opinions on the fate of Halo overall, but I wanted to see if the actual claims against Hint are credible. Rebs reported that Halo Studios was working on a multiplayer title known as Project Ecker, which was canceled. I've verified that is 100% true. However, while I couldn't verify everything Hint is accused of saying in Reb's video, unfortunately, comments I've received lend weight to some of these allegations. Sources infer that harbors a capacity for creating friction between his team and Xbox more broadly, and it's suggested that he's a controversial figure internally. So the interesting point here, if you want change, is that it's Xbox more broadly. If this guy's creating headaches for Xbox, oh boy, I don't think Asha and the new leadership core is going to tolerate any of that. Now, it goes on to cover that former art director Glenn Israel has gone on record previously, feeling that he was retaliated against by Pierre for raising concerns that Hint had arbitrarily blacklisted other potential hiring candidates over personal issues. Beyond the public reports also already out there, I spoke to over half a dozen staffers, past and present, who had experience working with Hint. Even though I couldn't verify some of the information in Reb's own video, I was past other criticisms and also praise of Hint. Some suggested that some present-day Xbox producers and managers refused to engage with Hint without supervision, owing to feeling antagonized and undermined. I was also told multiple anecdotes from very separate sources about Hint exhibiting vocal disrespect for other Xbox studios, teams, and projects, which didn't exactly paint him in a positive light. I saw emails sent to Microsoft HR that alleged bullying on part of Pierre Hint, criticizing his treatment of staff. However, others did offer mitigating comments. One defended Hint, emphasizing his passion and dedication to the product. They suggest that he's not necessarily ill-intentioned, but sports a complete lack of tactfulness and people skills in their opinion. I've worked with this type of person. I'll say this straight up. It's a shitty excuse for bad social skills. I don't think it's acceptable. You don't need to like fucking coddle people's balls all the time, bro. But saying that, they just lack tact. They're just a straightforward speaker. I have worked with these people before, and I've helped them learn how to speak to others in a way where you can deliver your criticism without being an asshole. These two can coexist. It's the same thing I talk about with YouTube content. A lot of people are like, they're just saying the truth because people are calling that person a dick. It's like, no. They're like, you could be an asshole and just not get your point across as well. Like, there's a way to be extremely critical and insightful without fucking berating someone. So to me, I read that sort of bailout as someone who's experienced that and helped people through that and made them better at it. I don't view it as a good excuse at all. That's just me, again, speaking from personal experience. A lack of people skills is potentially problematic as a studio head, particularly, again, that's also the case. Yeah, if you're in a leadership position, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. If you're in a leadership position, you need people skills. It's not an option. You need to be able to work with other people. You need to be able to talk to other people. It's just that simple. One with such a high profile as Halo, it was suggested to me that Hint might simply be too stretched as a studio head, lacking the correct attitude to steer a large team in a single direction. Here comes more leadership, right? The Halo studio is under tremendous pressure, and the chaos around Xbox's current reset is likely making things even more difficult. I think even if the Halo Campaign Evolved remake is a win, I think it's going to be a really tough uphill climb for them. We still know that Halo is a major focal point for Xbox as a team, as a studio, as a brand, but we'll see what that exactly leads to. Point being, though, is that it's a disaster still at Halo internally. I can sympathize to being stretched thin, But that's a process problem. That's a staff problem. And there's already been aggressive cuts at 343 when they were called that. Now Halo Studios, and I'm sure there will be aggressive cuts again, especially if their latest project is mostly outsourced. It's going to be the same thing that happened to Bethesda Game Studios. Why do we have you all? It's going to be the same thing for a lot of these teams. If we're making money off of just hiring other teams to do the work that we thought you were supposed to be doing, why are you holding jobs? Why do we need these positions in the first place? And that does make for a smaller industry, but this is the cake and eating it too conversation I always have. People look at Expedition, they're like, why don't more teams do this? Why aren't teams more small? And then we have like Elder Scrolls Online going back to a team size where they were working on their biggest DLC. We have id saying, hey, we made Doom 2016 with this same team size. And I'm not saying it's going to be great for the games. We don't know how it'll turn out. But when people want that, we're getting those changes. And I think Halo will be the same case. It's like, why do we spend so much on you when nothing has come out since Infinite, and Infinite fell off a cliff weeks after launch because there was no post-launch support ready? And you just canceled a new Halo project. I mean, dude, it's just, it's unbelievable. It really is. Don't even get me started. I've been started for like, 17 minutes now, but like, man. So I'm very eager to see what Halo Studios looks like post-campaign Evolve, because I think they're going to look at those numbers, and I imagine within a week, I think like mid-August, we'll get an update on what they're doing there. I think that's why Xbox wants to do things in waves. And I think there are other teams, even the ones like Coalition, who are going to get hit after they release Gears E-Day. And I think even Playground Games, for all the money and time they spent on Fable, I think that team's going to get slimmed down too, for sure. The RPG side of things, as they like retool, because that used to be how the industry worked. I remember it used to be a big complaint. But basically what would happen is these teams would go small, create the prototype. When they were ready to start building it out, they would hire people, sometimes contractually, but they'd hire people and then just lay them all off at the end of the project and go small again. But job retention became a big focal point of the industry. Not that that's a bad thing, but it became a big focal point. And now we have these kind of moments where DLC gets a priority or live service gets a priority because you get to fill those hands that you've already paid for. I think teams like Obsidian have handled it well, where if you want to raise someone to a director level position, they let them direct the DLC for their already existing games. They give them a small squad to work on that stuff, and then they hand them a bigger project. That's why Avowed is a great example. When you had a game such as Outer Worlds 1 getting Murder on Eridanos, or not Murder on Eridanos, sorry, it was Peril on Gorgon. Carrie Patel directed that one. And then she went on to direct Avowed in the spot where it actually was able to release. She did not start with Avowed from the very beginning. She inherited that project, in her defense. Point being is, like, there are ways to kind of break up your talent with DLC. I think there's examples of studios that do it well. But I think a lot of this comes back to like justifying positions that may not be useful for an entire project, but certain stretches of a project. So I'll be interested to see how Halo Studios gets hit, but also, again, Coalition and Playground no doubt are going to get hit as well. So time will tell. Ladies and gentlemen, I kick it off to you. What are we feeling when it comes to Halo Studios, our favorite form of slop? Do we think they still got that dog in them? Do we get a good Halo game this July? And if we do, does that save the company's future? What happens next? Let me get this file up and let's see what we got cooking in the chat. I'm tired, boss. E-Day is going to flop. Interesting take. I think it'll do well, but I don't know if it'll, I mean, because it's exclusive. Yeah. They never had that dog in them. They screw up a fucking Combat Evolved remake of all things. Yeah, you'd hope not. I don't know. I haven't started it yet. But I'll let you guys know when the embargo lifts. That's why I wanted to wait to start the game, because last night I got my review code and I was like, but I have Halo in the slop document. I was like, let me start the game after I do the news, so it's as like, I don't want people to think I know things or whatever. Let me get this over to Emmett. Oh, hello here. Halo Studios escapes these mass layoffs while it are punished because they are unionized. ZeniMax Online Studios unionized as well. So it's a very disturbing precedent. It's a good call out. It's a good point, Ice Cap Lord. Very good thing to catch here. Yeah, Microsoft does not want that. Jacinta, thank you so much for your very generous super chat. Hello, mate. I would just like to say thank you for your video, especially you talked about Fallout 1 Remaster, although I don't believe it's not possible, but the thing I desired most. Either way, thanks for mentioning it. My pleasure, man. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the streams. My pleasure to talk about anything Fallout, honestly, and much more to come, especially this week. But thank you so much, man. Really nice of you. Warhammer 40k is killing because they know how to handle IP among other devs. It's a cheat code, bro. I don't think enough companies do it. All 5 in the afterlife. This electrolyte packet kind of slaps. My pleasure, Nate Dogg. They need to be disbanded, to be honest. Halo Combat Evolve, Campaign Evolve can't even beat bolster the studio in any way since it's literally a 90% outsourced project. Yeah. I really wonder what they're going to do with that IP. Fallout Lost in Space game. Interesting. I don't know about that. Fallout game in space. I mean, they had... One of the cool things 76 did was had, like, someone who was an astronaut... and the Great War happened and they came back down to Earth and it was all destroyed. Like, that was a really fucking cool angle. I really like that about that game. So, yeah. Well, Glenn Schofield just announced his retirement. Oh, my God. Well, he already kind of retired, but I guess this is him saying, like, I'm packing it in. Oh, boy. The question of the show. Do we see KOTOR at Gamescom, Maddie? Let's think. Wait. Maybe. Hang on. I should know this. When is Gamescom? August 26th. Star Wars Zero Company releases the same week as Gamescom. I don't think you show KOTOR Remake this year until the racing game and Zero Company are out. I think that's their focus for the year. I'm going to say no. This might be a Game Awards thing. I'm going to say no, though. I haven't heard anything about KOTOR in years. Yeah, there hasn't been KOTOR news per se, but it's still alive, guys. Come on. There's a pulse. I'm out of this electrolyte drink. That shit was like crack, bro. How do we tell him? Don't, Uncharted Wolf, be quiet. That's enough. I still have hope. Until I see the cancellation letter, I am not giving up. I can't accept it. Do I think the game's going to be great? I can't really say, but I can't accept it. I am coping. You're right, Fillmore. I'm coping. But imagine if this game is incredible. All right? Like, imagine if this game is fucking incredible. Yeah, you guys are being too negative right now. Imagine if this game is incredible. Are you ready for the Matty Victory Tour? I think everyone should relax a little bit. If KOTOR Remake is God tier. There's been more news for KOTOR than ES6 at this point. You're kind of right. Yeah, because they're having, like, leaks and stuff to look at. Why is Todd so possessive about Fallout when he himself picked it up from the original creators? He should have let Sister Studio work on the IP. Yeah, I think it's just like, it's creating the ownership. Like, it's his now, you know, not his, it's theirs now. Like, they decide what to do with it. They rejected tons of TV shows and pitches before that as well. So, you know, that's like what true IP control means, and it sucks. And I don't know why more companies don't take the Warhammer approach. If you have like good, especially if you have a good relationship with a company like Obsidian, I don't know why you don't keep that going. They do KOTOR reveal of any kind of Gamescom, I'll throw you onto the stage like they did to Gimli and Lord of the Rings. Oh, dude. I'd be escorted out of the building for making too much noise. When it happens, I will buy you dinner. All right, Fillmore, I'm gonna hold you to it, bro. I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm not, but I mean, I'm just saying. You know, oh man, I wonder if they just gave up on the idea of completely changing it with the remake and said, you know what? Let's get the original actors and actresses back. Those who are alive. May they rest in peace. Get the actors and actresses back where we can. Bring it all together here. And just make a prettier KOTOR. New coat of paint. All I'm saying is that I thought Aspire was the team to do it until I started to see the leaks. Like, not the leaks I got. The leaks I got were, like, really excited. Because they were like, oh, we're looking at, like, Neo 2's stance system. We're looking at God of War. Like, we're looking at those games. I'm like, okay, interesting, cool. That's, like, the #1 complaint, combat. But then I saw some of those cutscenes where, like, your character was voiced and, like, talking to Traskell. I was like, oh, fuck no, bro. That's the thing. If they make your main character a voiced protagonist in KOTOR, I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think I even processed that. I think that would really upset me. And it seemed like Aspire was going in that direction. Do you think we'll get Elder Scrolls Adventures Eye of Argonia because Xbox's focus on Elder Scrolls, or now perhaps even a remake of Redguard? I don't think you get either, man. Like, these are very obscure picks here. I'm just keeping it real with you. These are really obscure deep cuts. A remake of Redguard, like, this reminds me of, what was that game on the Nokia? Oh, fuck, what was it? It's Key something? Elder Scrolls Nokia game. Oh, Elder Scrolls Travels Shadow Key. That's what it was. Yeah, man. I don't think you'll get this sort of stuff. I think Elder Scrolls will still be like ES6 and that's it. But I think Fallout will be receptive to more spin-offs and additional entries. If KOTOR 2 launched complete, do you think it would be better in the first? I kind of like it more than the first already. So yeah, it's like my favorite RPG ever. I think the combination of the reputation system with the light side dark side system, like the morality and the reputation, just like the conversations you have with these characters, just so good, so fucking good, bro. It's incredible. But because I love KOTOR 1 and 2 so much, I haven't done a replay of these games in a while because, like, I didn't want to absorb too much when working on my own thing. Like, that was like one of the things I swore to myself, so I haven't played it in years. It's been a while, so I can't wait to return to these games for full playthroughs. But I think KOTOR 2, like, content complete, dude. Like, I mean, it's nothing without... It's a New Vegas situation. It's nothing without KOTOR 1. KOTOR 1's a fucking bona fide classic. Let's see here. Let me get our last bit of slop up. What if the protagonist is dozens of AI voices? You'd literally watch me jump off a bridge live on stream. I just, oh man. That'd be fucking terrible. Sorry, I'm just getting everything up real quick here. Okay, just had to double check some info on that. Okay. There we go. Okay. I got everything up. Thanks, guys, for your patience. All right. This next one, GTA, is oh, man, quite the take that we'll get into. All right. Let me read these super chats. Who were your BioWare romances? Well, Bastila, of course. Trying to think of Mass Effect. Mass Effect was Tali. I love Tali. She's my fave. I remember Jade Empire. Dragon Age was Liliana. Liliana and Morgan. Oh god, fucking bro. When I was a high schooler, Morgan. Oh man. I was like, I think I like goth girls. Oh man. Yeah, dude. Who else was there? I'm thinking in the BioWare lineage. Yeah, those are the big three. Yeah. All right. You've talked about Switch changing your play habits. If they are the last space for pure physical games, do you see that being your future main console? That's gonna have to be for the most part, bro. You know, like it's yeah. I mean, the physical games is a big part of it, sure. But I also just love the way I get to play games. It's huge for me. It's like really I just because I like sitting here, but like right now it's a lot of it's based on like I'm either gaming in this chair, which as you can see I'm in this chair all the time, or this chair, which sucks, bro. My wife's boss gave it to us for free years ago, and it was supposed to be like a temporary thing because I'm investing all the money in our game project. I've like tried to stave off buying a chair here because I want to reorganize this room a little bit. Like I want a bigger kind of sofa that would sit more in the center here and have a bigger TV on that wall there instead of this smaller entertainment center. This TV I have here is from my office space. It's like one I got on Amazon. It's like just a 4K whatever TV. I have not like invested much in my setup. So for me, the Switch is great because I can like take my game and go and play on the couch and like kick my feet up, and that's really nice. So good question here, but yeah, I think right now Switch has got me by the balls. Making art with AI misunderstands the point of art. Perfectly put. Yeah, perfectly put. It's not supposed to be an accessible thing. Roadside, thank you for your generous super chat. Hey, Maddie, been a fan since the Fallout 4 Newsday coverage. Thank you, dude. Just want to say how much I love your content. Keeps improving year after year. Thank you, dude. This is really nice of you, man. I'm glad you've been around for so long and you think so. I'm always self-critical, so this is the stuff that's really nice to hear. But thank you, man. I appreciate this a lot. It looks like he gave you a Herman Miller chair. Oh, this chair I bought. Sorry, this chair I bought. Yeah, this is a great chair, but like also it's still an office chair, and like being in an office chair for 12 hours a day isn't like great if you're combining that with like gaming and working. This chair back here is not Herman Miller. I don't even know what that chair is back there. Morgan is my queen, dude. Yeah. Shout out Morgan. She also happens to have in Veilguard one of the best conversations in the whole game. Where'd you get that shirt, Maddie? Darth Monkey, where did I get this shirt? Was that Redbubble? I got you. Hang on. I'm going to take this off. Hang on. I got to check the tag, you know? Hang on. Where did I get this? fucking read it, dude. Jinx, I think? Hang on. Alright. Okay. I think I got it for you. Let's see here. Is it Jinx with an exclamation point? Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'm not seeing. Try to find it for you. Knights of the Old Meat Bag T-shirt. HK47. Let's see what comes up. Bro, where the fuck did I get this shirt? I'm not finding it anywhere. Wow, I got a really rare shirt, bro. What you could do here, I got you. Here. Hang on. Here's what you're gonna do, Darth Monkey. I'm gonna hide the chat for a moment here. Take a screenshot of me, of my shirt, and do a reverse image search. Okay, there you go. You can rewind the stream. Take a screenshot. Try it that way. That's the best I can do. Okay. Knights of the Old Meat Bag sounds really. I love Knights of the Old Meat Bag. That'd be sick. All right. Let's do our last bit of slop here. Let's do GTA 6, shall we? How are you doing an imitation of a Bethesda NPC? All right, guys. Last round of slop here. We're going to talk about GTA 6 and a $200 price tag. Shall we? Feel free to spam the meat emojis if you'd like. Okay, let's do this. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's safe to say that $80 was not enough, nor was $100. In today's rendition of slop, I'm here to tell you about $200 video games. That's what one analyst would like for GTA 6. And I'd like to just get into the economics of this game and how it just, seems to never be enough with these price tags when these analysts come into gaming and they're like, yeah, it should just be like this much. Because, again, at the end of the day, this is a game, GTA 6, is going to make all of its money back and then some after its launch. We'll talk about that, though. But what I want you to see here is this hot take from Ben Thompson, who is an analyst, and I think it's honestly just best that we let him speak for himself instead of me prepping you all. So let's take a look at this clip here on Twitter, and I got to turn up my speakers for this one. Here we go.
Number one, I feel Rockstar, I think, is charging way too little for this game. They're charging, what, $80?
Yes.
Like, this is a game
you're going to get canceled for this. This is a nuclear take.
No, they
Shout out to this guy for knowing, by the way. Just being like, hey, dude.
should be charging like $200 for this game.
I know.
GTA 6 is like the last great game.
Yeah.
Like, you think about it was mostly all made pre-AI.
Yeah.
Like, it is the pinnacle of this AAA craftsmanship, years and years and years of blood and sweat and tears, to the extent where you have like the Twitter analysts like counting cigarette butts outside of the offices to see like how much crunch are they in right now.
And I don't even think he's trading the stock.
I always get the kick out of the whole like this is the last great game argument on just a side tangent here. Like it's just so obvious that GTA 6 is like brain rotting people into not like this will be the biggest game. Don't get me wrong. But it's so brain rotting in that like we can no longer process even like if you were to call GTA 6 a massive success, then what's the level below that? A big success? We can't even process that as being enough. Like this is it for people. This is the last great game. It ends here. Gaming dies here. And I don't know, man. Like usually what GTA signifies when a Rockstar game comes around, it means more people are buying consoles if they were affordable. More people are buying consoles. More people are getting into gaming. It means more for the industry, not less. But instead, we're advocating for $200. even if that's an exaggeration, we're looking at 160. Nonetheless, let's continue with this hot take because it gets better.
I don't even think he's trading the stock. I think he just wants to know what GTA 6, the love of the game. Literally, the game, the GTA
Gamers
game.
are insane. So I always tread in this water very, very carefully. Yes. But no.
You're not when you say $200 games. Just on a side note, I'm that annoying gamer here, but like you do not tread carefully when you say $200 games. Okay.
So I feel compelled to buy GTA 6 just in honor of it existing.
I like that.
Even if I don't know if I'm ever going to play it. So I'm definitely going to do that, and I'd be happy to pay, $200. Like $80 is ridiculous. They should charge more. Anyhow.
Like, it's never enough, man. For analysts, for shareholders, investors, it's just never enough. I'm not saying that GTA won't be worth $80. But like we're already seeing them do the Red Dead playbook, right? Where like the $80 version was kind of the $60 version. Like you wanted to get the $60 version, but the $80 version had all the content packed in, so you jumped for it. And now they're doing it in $80 version, and then you look at the Ultimate Edition, what's packed in there. It's like, oh, that the $100 version is really the full game. So we're saying that double that's actually more worth it. Let's continue.
We had the youngest person on our team was commenting on people online complaining about the price and said something like, you didn't have you had 10 years, you couldn't save up $80.
And this is another thing, right? So this is where the take ends because everything else is just them blabbing afterwards. But this is what I was talking about where, again, this is like the last game for a lot of people where they don't even consider that there are tons, millions, like this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It makes more than all the entertainment industry combined. The games industry does. People play more than one game. It's not about saving up for one game. It's about saving up maybe for a system in some people's cases, but it's also about playing other games. While you're playing other games, it's about buying other things that you need in your life because things are so expensive. But let's charge $200 for a game. Okay, now this isn't me really raging out because it seems like they're mostly good vibes. I just strongly disagree with this sentiment in general. This is a hot take among hot takes. But what it doesn't consider, and what a lot of analysts never seem to consider, is how these games truly make their money. They look at the dollar sale out the gate and do not think about the long-term support. GTA 5 was a 2013 video game, and it just got another update for GTA Online. This is the Court Center heist. I've seen a lot of the GTA community calling it the last update, but Rockstar's never officially said that's the case. As far as we know, there is no moving on from this yet. More on that in a bit. But these updates continue to pour in, and they continue to lead to microtransaction purchases, which is why GTA Online, according to this article written April 13th, 2026, GTA Online has nearly 10 million weekly active users and earns nearly $1.3 million per day. Per day. Meanwhile, just Red Dead Online, which we're not even accounting for here, averages a little bit more than 1 million weekly active users. So not nearly as much. But that is an insane amount of money per day. You can do the annual total for that. And that's not probably accounting for the bumps that GTA sees during updates like the Court Center, where it's like, okay, here comes a new surge of players. There's always the returning fans, the people who have been out for a while, the new fans, and now those who are anticipating GTA 6. So they're probably making more money and seeing more players than ever because GTA 6 is entering that fever pitch. Not only that, but here we have estimates of how many copies GTA 6 or 5, has sold in this year, according to Games Radar. It's still selling millions, letting Rockstar do whatever it wants, and an analyst estimates 1.8 million on just PS5 in 2026. This is according to Alinea Analytics, who has been very consistent in the past. So this game will continue to sell for years, so it doesn't need to be $200. It will continue to make its money for years through GTA Online, so it doesn't need to be $200. Like $80, it doesn't always come down to the sticker price when you buy it out the box. And that is the thing that is missed. And what GTA 6 is really a social experiment on, more than anything, I'm sounding like a hater for a game that I know a lot of you are excited about, but really what this is all an experiment for, at least as I'm recording this right now, July 14th, is it's an experiment on how many pre-orders they can get without you knowing shit. Right? Here is the Rockstar website. And all in all, you've got 2 trailers. You've got some basic information on, say, the Ultimate Edition. Shout out to how this website scrolls left to right here. Here are all the things you're missing. And these are tons of screenshots that people have completely mulled over, picked apart, piece by piece. And don't get me wrong, visually speaking, the game looks great. But we see here we've learned about like the salons, we've learned about the heist, we've learned about the watercrafts, we've learned about all the clothing stores and whatnot, vehicles, the garages. Like there's so much to this game. But we've not really seen much of this in action, which is the hilarious part. And I bring all of this up because the estimates for how much this game has made in its first hour is jaw-dropping. So here we have a breakdown from the University of Virginia. And they're looking at Take-Two, and they say Take-Two shares rose almost 3% in early trading when pre-orders opened. And some analysts modeled as much as $1 billion in revenue in the first hour alone. For a listed company, the pre-order window functions as an investor communication event as much as a sales channel. So in looking at all of that, right, and most of these pre-orders are going to be, they're digital, right? So they're taking home all that cash. Let's do some dirty math, right? We're not counting for like platform holder splits and whatnot. Let's say everyone bought the $80 version, right? We're saying every one of those $1 billion came per copy sold the $80 version. So no Ultimate Edition. That game is already at 12.5 million copies sold. Then if, let's say, everyone went and bought the $100 version, right? Everyone went Ultimate Edition. We're going all in, 10 million copies sold. So we're somewhere in that 10 million range in the first hour. Do we really need this to be $200? People have already bought in entirely on GTA 6 without knowing very much. They know a setting. They know 2 characters. They've got a story trailer. They got like what, a quick shot of the open world and the cover art. And that's all they needed for 10 plus million copies sold. And honestly, I can't say I blame Take-Two for the way they're approaching it. They're like, just keep taking all the sales in before they can react to things. And if you really want to look at it objectively speaking, I don't say this as someone who likes what they're doing, but they've been kind of brilliant with how they've handled it. Give them very little, build it to a fever pitch. People are going to pre-order en masse. The code and box situation should be, and the price situation should be separate from our first trailer. Let's give them enough time to see all of that shit, react to it, make their videos, because they know this shit's going to sell anyway. And I think it's one of those rare cases where you can say, yeah, they've kind of won because they can just do whatever they want. And so they'll make all their noise. And then when the noise is quieted down, here comes trailer 3. And we're going to collect even more tens of millions of sales. The fact that we're talking about a world, again, where we're looking at 10 plus million copies sold in like the first hour, if that $1 billion of revenue is anything to go by. And again, we're talking Take-Two broadly, so this can be a lot of things. I'm looking at specifically GTA 6, but even half of that is stupid to think about. And these numbers sound believable. So going back to the take, it's like, does this like, why do we want this type of price tag? It's again, when these takes come from people with platforms who have legit credibility, but they're not into games. They're talking about this like this is the last game, like there's no games after, and they don't consider the way games make their money, especially in the case of Take-Two, which really pioneered the ship it once and update it all the time, and we'll make millions of dollars every day. Can you imagine the amount of things that this is why GTA 6 could take so long and why they didn't use AI, because they had so much money to play with. $80 is even pushing. You could argue they could have dropped the entire gate down and said $70, and the rest of the industry would have had to figure it out from there. I think they legitimately could have done that. That's the one thing that frustrates me with the way that Rockstar and Take-Two are doing business, is that GTA 6 could have been this moment that really changed the industry. If they said, we're shipping the game, disc in the box, full game on the disc, and we're also going to do a $70 game release for this. Maybe the physical version's $80. Oh boy, that would have set the standard for everyone, and no one, until the next Rockstar game at least, could have broken that standard and got away with it. Maybe Nintendo to a very perfect situation. Anyway, looking at it, by and large, we're seeing here GTA 6 is going to do its thing. I don't think we need to ask and practically beg Take-Two to take more money from us. I think that sounds like a bad plan, so yeah. Overall, that's just my rant on a $200 GTA 6. We've been milked enough, man. Enough asking these companies to take more. Please and thank you. All right. Team, I'd love to hear from you in the chat. How are we feeling about GTA 6? $200. Would you be there? Would you? Or would you not? Let me turn down the volume on my browser, and then let's get the music rocking and rolling. Take-Two, please take another $100 from me. There we go. It's like, where's my music at? They still waiting on you to play GTA 4, but it's on the list. We're getting through this first. This fucking torturous experience, and then it's on the Vice City, San Andreas, and then 4. So we're getting there. Oh, my stream just needed to refresh. Hang on, let me miss some of the chats. Saints Row 2 is by GTA. I would not pay for $200 for any game besides ES6. Oh, we got some positivity for ES6 here. There we go. Nate Dogg just said, no. I'm not buying it for 80. Lucy's Badonk is going to be 50 gigs. Yeah, for real, bro. They know what they're doing. Let me get this last bit up to Emmett. Should have definitely played the definitive edition, man. You think? I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like the comments were going to come after me. I was like, let me just do it the way that everyone else did it back then. I'm not capping. I'd rather play Fallout than GTA. I mean, I'm right there with you. I literally said if the Fallout 3 remaster drops on, like, Bombs Drops Day, like, I'm probably just, like, that's it for me. When it comes to GTA 6, I'm like, I know where I'm going to be. Who cares about GTA 6? Honestly, it's just another run around, shoot people, run from the cops game. Totally uninterested. I'm noticing a lot of people. I remember when I first started saying this type of shit, a lot of people were like, yeah, dude, yeah, right, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's at least a decent demographic of people who are like, I don't really give a fuck about GTA. I just see it enough where I'm like, how many people are there? Not enough to, like, change the tides or anything, but, like, how many people really are there, like, that just truly don't give a fuck, and, like, what will they be playing? All right. That's all our slot for the day, guys. Thanks for hanging out. That was fun. Let me X out all my tabs here. GTA never properly evolved from running and shooting people over. Shooting and running people over. Interested in GTA for graphics. I'm interested to see what they can push, like, if they had their own full, like, I was talking to a friend, he was like, imagine if they had their own full social media in there. Because, like, GTA has always had, like, the computers you can interact with. If they went more into the RPG direction of, like, San Andreas with, like, simulation shit, too, where, like, you know, the websites that you can use and surf around, like, I think they're going to expand those ideas from 5. And that could have just been someone's job for years, and, like, that would have been fucking crazy. A lot of secrets could be packed in there. But, yeah, dude. We'll see. There's a lot of smaller things that can get me in. It's more than just the, you know, because I feel like right now the story's looking like in a place where it's very familiar. Not in video games, but just if you watch movies, I feel like the whole Bonnie Clyde thing is like, you know, we've seen this before, so I just, yeah. I want it to win me over. I'm waiting for Trailer 3 to really decide how I feel. But in the meantime, I know the Retro Rebound audience is going to want those GTA retrospectives. I want them for myself because I feel like they're part of the experiment of, like, getting me over the line. So we'll see. 3 has not convinced me at all. But we'll see what the better ones with, like, Vice City and San Andreas and 4, what those do for me. You know, Rockstar Writing's on another level. Yeah, but Dan Houser's not there. I mean, just think about it. There are a lot of names that used to be there that are gone now. And I don't know if you're actually going to feel it, but, like one of the guys who was responsible for all that shit is, like... I mean, I'm not saying it like, oh, this is going to be ass. I'm just saying it like, am I going to feel compelled to, like, rush out there? GTA 3, I love the map and world. The missions and gameplay are rough. Oh, are they? Boy, are they. Some of those fucking missions, dude. I don't know. One of the lead writers for RDR2 is still there. Okay. I mean, that's definitely a good sign. Again, I expect the game to be great. I just also know my taste. You know? Like, that's how I'm kind of trying to assess it. Like, I'm just trying to be honest about it. Like, I don't know why, like, we have this rule for, like, don't get hyped for anything until you actually see it. It's like, yeah, I 1,000% agree. And then, this is a game we've seen, like, very little on how it plays gameplay moment to moment. And until they pull that back, I can't pretend I'm excited. Like, it's because I get it, though. I'm not, like, a diehard GTA fan. If this was me in that situation, I mean, you saw me with Fallout. You see how little it takes where I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. So that's all it really comes down to. I just need to see the things that are going to get me excited. What's going to be different here? I can't imagine. You need to see the numbers go. I do. I wouldn't mind seeing the numbers go up if it meant making, like, my characters fat. Kind of like you could in San Andreas. I like getting a little chunky CJ, you know? Come on. I don't know what this button does. Pressing it for science. Diego's back! Diego, shout out to you, brother. Thank you for being here. Hope you're, what was it? What'd you ask me about? Your water pressure system? I hope it's going all right, man. Thank you, Diego. Good to see you, man. I find it hard to get emotionally invested beyond that humor because the GTA universe has that cheese. Yeah. I really do respect that GTA 3 had a ton of original music. You know, I thought that was really cool. Like, the whole turning into kind of, like, licensed mainstream stuff and parodying off of, like, real-life stuff. It's so funny because GTA kind of, as a product, is very much against the type of human being I ended up becoming, in that, I shouldn't say the type of person, but rather the way I developed my taste. Like, I've never been into, like, mainstream pop culture shit, and this whole game parodies that shit, so it's just like reference over my head, reference over my head, here's another reference over my head. It's just like, oh, there goes another one. I don't fucking know. I never cared about this shit growing up, so it sounds annoying, and I'm not really trying to sound very pick-me with it. It's just, unfortunately, like, I just was so obsessed with games. So it's like, if you weren't referencing that, it's like, oh, you're referencing that famous actor and that controversy they got into that, like, in 2010 that I didn't give a fuck about. Like, oh, sick. You know? Like, remember that whole Lindsay Lohan issue that GTA 5 had with the load screen? It's like, I wouldn't have caught that in a million years until I saw a headline. Plumber fixed things. Thanks, Matty. Good, Diego. I'm glad, man. You should try Chinatown Wars. It's underrated. Yeah, I want to try the handheld era of GTA. Mostly just parodies mobsters movies. Yeah. I mean, GTA 3 definitely. If that's the trend for the rest of the franchise that I play, then yeah, for sure. Because I see Goodfellas in... Well, I mean, Ray Liotta is like the main character. But I'm saying, like, Goodfellas in Vice City for sure. But GTA 3 is so obviously, like, they were just Sopranos fans. That wasn't even based off Lindsay Lohan. It wasn't? Okay, there you go. Shows what I know. Look at Uncharted Wolf just knowing everything about the pop culture, knowing everything about GTA. What a normie. Smeet, my favorite entry in Dark Souls. Oh, man. I'm not a hater of 2. I like 2, but 2's my least favorite. I've never finished 3, actually, now that you bring that up. And so 1? Yeah, sorry. I know. Matty, play Dark Souls 3, I know. I like GTA because it's fun. Yeah, you like to get 5 stars, wanted, and drive around. Oh, like I spent like 8 hours just shooting cops for... Play a story, damn it. And not an Uncharted one. Sorry, I played GTA, not 30 Trails games. Yeah. That's a very good counterpoint. I have nothing to say to that. Do you think Elder Scrolls 6 will be Xbox exclusive? I think to break even, they'd have to ship it on PS5. Yeah, I mean, at this point, you'd think so. I think they'll treat it sort of like Call of Duty. I think it'll be like the exception, not the rule. So, you know, Tez 6, Xbox exclusive, hard to imagine. Fallout Remaster, a little bit easier to imagine, right? Like, I don't know. It just feels like it depends what they think they're going to see the most money from. And what they want to create, like, true value. Like, this would create true value around the Xbox. People would show up for the Xbox if they utilized TES 6 as an exclusive. So we'll see. Certainly it helped with the 360 with Oblivion. It helped with the original Xbox with Morrowind. Again, we'll see. We will see. See, I think where Grunge Head's take is at there. We got to talk about Bully a little bit. Bully's an important Rockstar game. Everyone's all out there talking about GTA, and I'm like, what about teenage GTA, where you could give people wedgies, shoot them with fucking potato guns, ride my bike around, hit teachers, stuff them in the fucking lockers. Like, that shit was awesome, dude. That was a great video game. I fucking love... Bully's my favorite Rockstar game by and large. It's such a great game. Learning how to fight hand-to-hand combat thanks to a hobo that lives behind the school. Like, it's fucking brilliant, dude. It's so brilliant. I love Bully so much. The fact that we never got a Bully 2 just kills me. Grand Theft Bicycle. Man, yeah, but Bully I played so much. I've replayed that game a ton of times. Now you're treating this like they're a side. GTA fans like Bully 2. No, you guys don't, because if you did, you would have showed up en masse. We would have got Bully 2. GTA fans abandoned us in our most important fight. That's enough of that. Manhunt's actually one I haven't played yet. That's a good call out there. I've not played that. Or The Warriors. I've not played that as well. A couple of Rockstar games I've still missed beyond GTA. Who needs Bully when we're getting Age View High? Yeah. That's coming out next month, man. Whew. We'll see how that goes. You were 4 when Bully came out? Hang on. How old are you, bro? Why is it telling you that a Kanye West album, bro? Man, is Bully that much of an unk game? Holy shit. It's still giving me... I typed in Bully game. Bully video game come out. It keeps coming up with Kanye West, bro. Okay, here's the wiki. This was 2006. You were 4, so you were born in 22. Okay. You're a youngin'. 24. Oh, you told me in chat. 24. Do I like Red Dead? Yeah, Red Dead 1 is a fucking great game. Really great game. Love Red Dead Redemption 1. It was really cool watching John Marston's voice actor, like, in clips playing that game, too. That was awesome to see. Anyway, guys, it's 7, so let me bounce now. It's time to conclude the slop. We'll be back this Friday for more. Obviously, look forward to the uploads on the Slop channel. In the meantime, we'll have, I think, a Bethesda themed video coming out tomorrow, so do look forward to that. Otherwise, I'm thinking if there's anything else, any other T's I have to cross, any I's I have to dot here. No, I don't think so. Just thanks for hanging out, guys. This was an awesome one, as always. But thanks to everyone who showed up en masse. Thanks for the super chats, as always. Like, super appreciate y'all supporting the stream. It does make a huge difference. But thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging. We'll be back this Friday to discuss whatever the hell's going on in this industry. And remember, Bully is better than GTA.